Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH and Impact post show here at Fightful. A much shorter episode this week, thankfully, and we've got Reg back with us. But before we catch up with Reg and his big Vegas weekend and all of his shenanigans that happened, we are going to ask you guys to get in those super chats and those humper chats to talk anything ROH tonight. I thought it was a strong episode. Definitely one of my favorites of the non-studio ones. This was a much stronger showing. Chat about it with us. Send in those chats. Also, we'll ask you to go over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe there. Lord knows we had a very dense wrestling weekend. Okay, we had 3 pay-per-views in 2 days. We were running shows all over the place. Reg was in Vegas. He couldn't be bothered to show it. He saw 19 matches and was like, I'm out of here. I ain't doing a 19-match post show when I'm in Vegas, all right, with my internet that is hotel internet. That was not happening. Will said, find a sub, Kate. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go play some penny slots. I'm gonna hit it big on blackjack. Couldn't be bothered. But how was Vegas?
You know, the funny that you say that, Kate, because I actually went to the AEW and Ring of Honor tapings, and it ended up being like a 6-hour show. So I ended up being at a long wrestling show anyways, so it didn't matter. They were like, "Hi, you thought you got away from 19 matches? Gotcha." And they made me watch a whole bunch of wrestling. I watched a bunch of Ring of Honor. They did exactly what we've been talking about on this shows for months on end. Filmed during, after a whole bunch of wrestling, and not enough people saw an amazing 6-man lucha inspired match. So it's a lot.
Nice little combo of things that Reg loves tonight and things that I love tonight. And it's not that I don't love what Reg loves, but my shit was on tonight. We're gonna talk all about that shortly. But let's talk about what you said. They aren't at the studio anymore. You've got this crowd that's probably a little fatigued, right? Not really hyped. If you send Maria Kanellis out there in that outfit, though, there's no wake up. All right, my God, breathtaking gal. We start with the infantry and the kingdom, and I gotta say, I love me some Lucha Brothers, all right? But to me, it has felt like the Kingdom are your tag champions, the way they've been carrying the brand and the workload in this division, but a fun opener here nonetheless. I really liked commentary talking about whether they would be in their heads a little bit about, or just fatigued from the not the Honor No More match, Fight Without Honor match that they had last week. But this was really fun. You know who wasn't fatigued by that match? Maria Kanellis, and we saw her interfere at the end. And what was a really fun opener. Love seeing the infantry. Great as always. This was just a nice way to kick off the show. Not usually those like insane tag matches that we sometimes get on the AEW to kick off shows where you're like, how did this even happen on free TV? But a really solid one and advancing some story here. Love seeing Maria get involved. She's always very good about her interference, and because it's not overdone in ROH a lot, I really liked it here. What did you think of our opener tonight?
Exactly what you were saying. I think there's a tag match later in the show that could have been in that crazy kind of tag match spot. The Top Flight and Action versus the Workhorsemen. I think they did some crazy stuff. We'll talk about that eventually here. But yeah, I think exactly what you said about the Lucha Bros being tag team champs. I think it's great. They're one of my favorite tag teams in the world. But if the run that the Kingdom has been having since the Supercard of Honor show Mania weekend, if they were tag team champions that whole time, I think it would hit a lot harder of them carrying the flag, them talking how they've been talking, them having the matches that they've been having. If they were tag team champions this whole time, we would have been building prestige to these tag team champions. Instead, they keep putting the tag team champions in singles matches every time we have a show. I don't get it. We'll never understand it, but you know, we are where we are, and we're gonna eventually get to having these tag team champions on the show. I hope. Hopefully they build to some this weekend at the tapings, because it's been pretty weird not having them on the show when that's a prominent figure of Ring of Honor history. Is like the tag team championships are like so synonymous with the company and everything that we've been to get here. To not have them present as they have been has been kind of a bummer.
Yes, and they, the presentation was such a big deal because of obviously who held them last, and to pass it along to a team of brothers was such a great moment. And then I understand injuries happen, but we saw these defended in AEW. We're getting more title defenses on Rampage. We saw 19 matches and no title defenses while you were off gallivanting, okay? Cashing in big on roulette or whatever the hell you were doing in Vegas while I was holding it down. But no complaints about this opener. I agree with you. I'm trying to reframe it in my head as let's see what Collision brings and who they pull on, and then we'll see what shakes out in ROH. Not mad about it. Not mad about it. And I'll tell you what else I'm not mad about. Trish Adora re-emerging here in ROH. Commentary, always. No Nigel tonight, but Caprice and Ian doing a great job talking about something that I found out through one of your tweets, that Trish Adora is training out of the New Japan dojo, and damn, that rules. I think that is such awesome news. It probably derails her booking a little bit here. I think normally this would be a case where you're building up Trish Adora. Her and Athena seems like such a likely combo, but if she's putting in the work in the New Japan dojo, you're probably going to have Sky Blue edging out this match, which she does here. But really, really fun. A gorgeous wheelbarrow suplex in this from Trish Adora. Fun stuff. I'm kind of with you where I'm not like quite there on Sky Blue, but her match with Athena was the best that we've seen her. She's continuing to be built here. I think her sticking around ROH is a good call. Normally, I'd be complaining about her going over Trish Adora, but knowing what Trish Adora is doing to give her what she's giving to herself and all of this is really, really cool. What did you think of our second match of the show here?
Yeah, this match was super fun. I think Sky Blue, ever since that Athena match, has been locked into where she should be after having such a great match like that. She's kind of taken on a little more edge. It's been great to see. Trish Adora's story has been great. Yeah, as you said, that tweet I put out, I had just discovered that day because I saw her just really being down there in the ring during the New Japan Strong show. So
bumping shoulders. I get it.
Yeah. But Trisha's awesome though. I've been singing her praises for so many years. So to see her and they kind of told the story here with the commentary saying that she joined the academy and she's like, put herself at the bottom again, not even like using being Trish Adora, been, around the world already. No, she's like at the very bottom, starting from the bottom to build up to become this, to become even greater than she was, saying that she didn't use entrance music in her, Carrytron for a reason, because she wanted to be, she wanted to earn every step from the very bottom, which is a great story to tell. And, using Sky Blue here to further along what she's doing. And they had a great match. I like the finish. I like the story that they told all through this. And, Sky Blue is going to continue to be a contender, which is going to be great for the division. But, the story that they tell here with the rest of the women's division in the show is the more interesting thing, I think. But yeah, super fun match. Both women look great here.
So I got to say, I feel qualified to speak about women's wrestling. And we have seen ROH go from a brand that wasn't really emphasizing women's wrestling to now like the workers women's wrestling brand. And I love seeing that. What I don't feel qualified to speak about, which I will throw to you and I will definitely be asking Cresta on as we switch over to the Impact stream, is we had Kiera Hogan, we had Athena, we had Trish Adora, we've got Trinity on Impact. There are some, we got Willow most weeks, there's some incredible Black women's wrestlers in the scene right now. And so different stylistically. I just can't remember a time where I've seen this much like organic representation unfolding. Like I don't want to be crapping on other brands, but right now in WWE, it's like Bianca and nobody else.
That's it.
Is it awesome for you to see this? Like I think it is just incredible.
Yeah. I mean, coming from, when I originally started making the BW 500 and just trying to discover more wrestlers. Women's wrestlers at the beginning, it was hard to find. It's hard to go through and see, but like because of the things that Sasha did, because of the things Sasha Mercedes, because of the things that Naomi did, because of the things that all their partners did, Becky and Bailey and all them, they brought along a new, different crop of women that are amazing, and a lot of them are Black women inspired by the things that Mercedes did on the way up. And to see where it is now with everyone you named and Queen Aminata and
oh my God, Promise Braxton. Did I even mention
Promise Braxton on this show?
Hell, yeah.
Tremendous talent. Shout out to Reality of Wrestling in Texas. Texas as a whole, just an incredible wrestling place to be. The Black women wrestlers here are insane, and they all, like you said, have different styles. They all bring a different kind of style and flavor and swag to this, and it's great to see. And they're all tremendously talented. Like you could pick any one of them to be like, oh, this is the best. Like Mercedes, she's great. Willow, Trinity, it's a who's who of amazingly talented women, and they're all champions and they're everywhere. And it's like, I never thought we would get here, but I'm so happy that we made it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And to your point about Mercedes, it's like she's still doing it. Like,
yeah,
she shattered all these glass ceilings in WWE and was like, I'm going to go to Japan and hold a women's title there.
Essentially, they created a belt for her, and she's just like, yeah, I'm going to carry this and inspire more women on the way and interact with all those women that I inspired on the way up. It's like, come on.
In main event, New Japan Strong with another Black woman. No big deal. No big deal. Just awesome to see. I just wanted to take a pause with that, because when I first got into ROH, and it sounds like a similar experience for you, like it was like Allison Danger and not really a ton.
Daisy Hayes. Yeah, I remember. It was like very rare. You'd be like, oh, here's a random women's match. That's cool.
Cool. But it's just so cool to see it being like the women's ass kicking brand too. It's not just like, oh, and we have women. It is the workers brand, and Ian Caprice put it over pretty heavily in the main here, but really, really great stuff. And moving into what was a heartstring puller for me, Reg. I don't know about you, but the Righteous and Stu Grayson versus the Dark Order. I've been whining, okay? I've been whining about the lack of story. When I did 19 matches to review and there were not really any stories, I was a little ornery about that, right? This story has been beautifully told. Wow. It is breaking my heart. Okay. I love me some Stu Grayson. I've said since before he even re-signed, I was like, he's an ROH singles champion in the waiting. Just stylistically felt right. I did not see this story coming with the Righteous, but I absolutely adore what they built out here. You get this moment of Uno not wanting to fight Stu, and it is so authentic and so good. We get a lot of other fun stuff in here. Dutch hitting this ridiculous boss man slam on Reynolds, who hit hard on the outside. But ultimately, this ends with Stu Grayson hitting Uno with the nightfall. Oh my God. And then Vincent going in and getting the pin, which I think is such an interesting open ending. And I loved the way Ian Riccaboni was like, did Vincent know? Is he a master manipulator? Is Stu Grayson going to be pissed off about this next week because he's still not having a moment to shine? Stu Grayson walk away from everybody. I think there's a lot of options here. I loved a lot of the storytelling in this. Vincent, just with like a casual side Russian leg sweep, always cracks me up, because like I don't think about move execution with that guy, but he's a good little wrestler, man. Good. He knows what he's doing in there. I think this is a whole bunch of fun. I think it's a really healthy call, and I'm thinking that if this is going into a trio split, you might have a nice 6-man champion contender on the way here. Reg, your thoughts?
Kate, what happened here? Everything started moving so quickly. I didn't know what's happened. Stu's back. He's beating up Jon Moxley. Dark Order, they're all reuniting, but then he's over here saying he's not getting enough shine. I agree with them. The Righteous are making some good points. And now he's over here with the Righteous, and he's fighting against his longtime partner. They're punching and kicking each other, Kate, right in the middle of the ring. What's going on here? Super Smash Bros. I can't believe this. It's just a sad story, but a great story here is being told. The Dark Order, keep lucking into this. Look, they just told this story on Dynamite about, they're going to start to tell this Hangman stories looking like. They're telling the story over here in Ring of Honor. Like, they're having a good time. Shout out to all those guys. They're great, incredible talent. And then this match, Boss Man Slam, Dutch is going to have, I think he has the best in the business. Like, somebody prove me wrong. Jake Somethings is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's the only one I think that I'm like could rival it.
These guys, they be throwing those Boss Man Slams pretty heavy over here. So you guys should fight about it and see who has the best one. I think that's the only way that you could solve this, Dutch and Jake Something in a fight, because that'd be a great fight too. But yeah, this is one of the best stories being told here in Ring of Honor. Slowly it came up. I mean, ever since the Righteous came in, they came in with the purpose of like, Stu, they're not treating you right over here, and we will treat you right over here. And they're kind of showing it, Kate, right?
They really are. My only thing is, Dutch, you're doing your job, but it's creeping me out with your tongue. All right,
the tongue thing, I can't. The tongue thing is freaking me out every time.
It's weird.
Every time he does it, I'm just like,
ooh. It just gives you the shimmies. Try being a girl and see it. It's
I could imagine.
Right, man.
I could imagine. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
It's a weird one. But what I like, to your point, was we saw the Dark Order on AEW. They've lost Hangman, right? I'm not for all this roster sharing, as I've been very vocal about, but the idea that like we lost Hangman, we're losing Stu, this leads to some consistent possibilities for the Dark Order. So I really like that. If they turn heel because they're like, everyone screws us over anyway, interesting stuff. If they stay face because they have to turn inward as a trio, there's a lot of trios wrestling happening right now. Could be a whole lot of fun.
Or new Dark Order members too. That's also something looming in the back. Like they've lost a lot over this. Their whole entire time in AEW, they've lost members, left and right here very recently. So are they going to try to recruit? Are they going to go on as a trios? They might just want to stay at trios because like your other two homies that you got are down, and that's it. Everybody else is a wild card.
It's true. And what I like about that is you had the two tag teams, right? And it felt like of anybody, Evil Uno was kind of left out in the wind. Felt like the whole Dark Order was, but he just never really recovered from losing his tag team. So him having other people to just endemically work with, I think is a really, really good call. But absolutely love the story here. This was a ton of fun. I'm going to save this Samoa Joe, Zack Sabre Jr. interview for their match because I was howling at what we got out of this. We're going to move along to some more ass-kicking ladies wrestling. We mentioned Promise Braxton, the challenger, but a great effort in her Proving Ground match with Athena last week too. Not a successful effort, but a really, really good one. I love the mouth guard and her style that she comes out with. A great match for Diamante here stylistically. That theme goes so hard.
Yes.
Love seeing Diamante on a track. Very, very excited. This was a really fun match. I loved it. Diamante going over here was not a surprise to me, but some really, really good work and a good use of establishing your women's division a little bit more as we go. Like it seems like Diamante is going to be emphasized here. That's all I've ever wanted, especially with Dark going away, because that's where her bread was getting buttered. So she deserves to keep that back. She deserves to do it in ROH, and she deserves this consistency. She's clearly worked very hard. Stylistically, it's a no-brainer in this environment now, but also happy to see Promise Braxton return. I thought she was great last week. I'm not as familiar with her, so I love finding new talent that I can dive deeper into and go look up matches. Very, very, very cool stuff. What were your thoughts on this?
This is cool, like we were saying earlier about this women's division, how it's kind of like if you're gonna be in the women's division, you're about to be in a fight. Like somebody across the ring from you can really fight, and this isn't like we're not about to be dancing in here. You could be in here with Athena, you could be in here with Diamante, you could be in here with Mercedes Martinez, you could be in here with Kiera Hogan. Like it's like who's ever on the other side of this, they're not coming to play. And that's great that this Ring of Honor division has became into that, because if in order to beat the MVP Ring of Honor Women's Champion, you have to be somebody that can go, because Athena's not about to play when you're on the other side of that. So to see these two women, Promise Braxton coming up like this, like I said, through Reality of Wrestling, Booker T, she has that kind of connection to Athena too, which is, a little story they could be telling here very soon. And then, so for her, I saw her actually at the Queen of Indies here at the West Coast Pro Show. She's amazing. She's great, even live. So it's great to see her to be able to get this opportunity here against Diamante. But we've been talking about Diamante for, some time now on this podcast. And she is getting these opportunities, and it's great to see because she's kind of one that's been deserving for a really long time, just on the grind, like you said, doing AEW Dark and doing these things to kind of stay relevant, but not getting the on TV opportunity. So to transition over here in ROH, another contender for Athena, it's just great to see. These women's matches on this show are always hit. It's pretty rarely that there's not one that, besides like the squashes, like they're always like some big time dope matches here.
Yes, and I always get concerned when we're out of the studio, but I gotta say, this felt so much more like an ROH episode. There was so much that I loved about it, and it didn't feel like, hey, let's throw the best friends out there because they're next to me in Gorilla. Like this,
it hasn't felt like that, right?
Yeah, and refreshingly to see, Rampage is going to be incredible tomorrow, so it feels like, all right, maybe now that we've cleared past Double or Nothing, we're kind of cementing what the products under the AEW umbrella are. And we know who you can thank for that. The hardworking staff at AEW.
Nice pivot, Kate.
Thank you. Guys, get your super chats and your humper chats about Will Washington or anything else you want to talk about. But most importantly, don't do that. Talk to us about the show tonight, though. We would appreciate the support, and a reminder that we have the Impact stream coming up with birthday boy Joel Pearl. But don't spend your dollars on him. Happy birthday. You can just leave it on the regular chat. Spend your dollars on us. All right. We want those quarterly ratings to show that we're the draw. All right. Exactly. Last week, because we had a 3-hour episode, I was bumping Joel to overbooked. Okay. Prove me right about that. Like
bumped. Wow.
Bumped. Yeah. I'm the
counter programming. Look at this. It's crazy.
Well, we had to. You know what I mean? Our reviews were going on the same damn
Thanks
time.
a lot, Tony.
So I bumped Joel, and then you know what happened the next night? I bumped Joel again because they had Impact to review again. I'm the draw. Prove it by sending in those super chats and humper chats. We've got Reg back. Please send them in and leave a thumbs up on this video if you could. But stay tuned for that Impact post show. They're also coming off a big weekend and more Trinity in action. But we get Brian Cage and Willie Mack in a fun match. Extremely familiar with each other. I absolutely adored commentary doing this. Talking about how they fought each other all around the world. I love when Willie Mack and Brian Cage, especially the way Brian Cage is working right now, collide because they are very different in about every way, except for the way that they make really, really fun matches when they are in the ring together.
Totally.
The Lucha Underground references, talking about everywhere that they've worked was really, really fun. Super familiar with each other. This is the most interesting Brian Cage has been. I've said it week over week. I really, really like it. I still want my 6-man belts. On ROH, but good stuff here. I also adore Willie Mack. Just a really good pickup for them if they're planning on contracting him or just using him consistently. He's such a consistent worker. And a lot of fun. Nice to see him back in singles action after some Ninja Mack tag team stuff. But what did you think of Brian Cage and his win today?
Why did we build to that Ninja Mack and the Mack? I thought we were doing the Mack attack thing. I like the back double Mack attack thing, but we're just leaving it. Okay, it's fine. We could just leave it. I get it. We're doing the Brian Cage match again.
Champions aren't even around.
Yeah,
you know
they're not here anyways. What does it matter? They're doing Brian Cage and Willie Mack again. Interesting choices. Like, I think there's some other ways you could go. This is like the 4th time we've seen this match. I watched one of these matches live of them doing it. It's great. I love it. Love Lucha Underground. Love PWG. Everybody knows my history here. But like, what's going on here? Why don't we defend these trios championships on this show? Why are you guys doing this to us? We know all 3 of them are there, or are they? I don't know. I don't really know. But why aren't we just adding a little bit more stakes to this? It doesn't really seem that hard. I just want to even know that they're present, that they're a team together, that we could see the three of them and the three of those belts together. Same with the tag team champs. Can we see them standing next to each other so I know that they exist in this universe? And these tag team championships aren't just going to a waste. But I digress. Fun match. We've seen this match in PWG. We've seen this match in Lucha Underground. We've seen it in AEW. We've seen it in Ring of Honor. It's kind of great that they're just running this match through so many different places. It's California representation. I can't really complain too much. Willie Mack is awesome when he does this Samoan drop into the nip up into the moonsault. It hits every time. He's just a great character. And I'd hope to one day see him as a champion here in Ring of Honor. That just would be a cool moment.
Hell yes to that. I do agree with you. I feel like I have not in my life really gone out of my way to see Brian Cage and Willie Mack, and I've seen it still 47 times.
So many times.
You're not wrong on that front. But I did love the cannonball in here from Willie Mack. I also loved Prince Nana getting worried on the clothesline spot stunner. Was really, really, really fun. Yeah. They do switch it up every time that they're in the ring, but I definitely hear you. And it does feel like we get pieces of the six-man everywhere we go, just not the actual trio itself. We got Konito on the main roster. We got Brian Cage down here. They're flip-flop all the time. So I agree with you. I think the match was fun, but you're not wrong. And that we've seen it a time or two and kind of superfluous. But
yeah,
fun none the
things could be worse. We could be watching a worse match.
Any chance we can get ABC on ROH tag division, asks Matthew Hooks.
ABC question mark?
Yeah, I don't know ABC.
Another bad creation. That's the only ABC I know, and they're an old rap child's group from the 90s. I don't think that's who you're talking about. You could be, though.
They haven't been in tag team action in a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time, probably like 30 years at this point, but could maybe get them back together.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know who you're clarifying for. Matthew Hooks, you can clarify and not send it.
Oh, Ace and Bay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, duh. Yeah. No, good call. It's a very open landscape right now. I would say anything's possible, but it does feel like they are a bit of a fixture in Impact right now. So I don't know how much they're gonna want to fixture.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see if Impact's involved any in Forbidden Door, I guess. So
I think it's going to be, I'm really intrigued by what we get at Forbidden Door, because there's been some stories, and we're going to talk about Zack Sabre Jr., mate, and Samoa Joseph in a moment, but there's been a lot of stories that feel like they could be leaning toward Forbidden Door that are not necessarily just AEW specific, including Zack Sheppy Jr. and Joe of the Samoas. This promo cracks me up. I love Joe just casually throwing in that he's better than Zack Sabre Jr. What you missed last week was magic. I will tell you that. The main event of last week was so great because there wasn't a ton of story going into it. It was just that Matt Sydal had a shot at the TV titles, and Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. weren't going to just let you call your shot. They're proud champions. It's the TV title, man. You can't just come in and get a shot because you feel like it. We build out to this tag match. The whole time it's just Zack Sabre Jr. and Samoa Joe messing with each other a little bit. Still on the same page about wanting to win the match, but Samoa Joe's super aggressively tagging in. And there's some one-upman spots and anything you can do, I can do better storytelling. It was really, really fun in this. Eventually leading to what we got tonight, but I just loved Samoa Joe in this interview, just being like, I think it's clear that I'm better than you. And Zack Sabre Jr. saying that's a little bit hazy was a whole heck of a lot of fun, as was the match that we got with Zack Sabre Jr. and Rocky Romero. 2 banger themes, by the way, right off the top.
Back to back.
Completely different vibes. Really, really good stuff. But I don't know what is up with me. I'm on the most technical kick that I have been on as a wrestling fan in my life. But I have a lot of really great things to say about this match. Okay.
Yep.
Zack Sabre Jr. catching people into a cravat never gets old to me, especially on the outside.
Beautiful.
What the effing F. Same with that like standing twisted neck breaker. It's just so nasty looking. It looks like you're actually breaking people's necks. So much fun to be had in here. The Hurricane Rana into the ankle lock, a thing of beauty. Rocky Romero's top rope DVT, a thing of beauty. Zack Sabre Jr. using what felt like a variation of the Coquina Clutch. I don't remember the full name of it. Calling out Samoa Joe with his in-ring storytelling.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Rocky Romero targeting the neck of Zack Sabre Jr. that Christopher Daniels was working over in the last match the whole time. Amazing. In-ring storytelling is the best part of wrestling. Wow. Wrestling's the best part of wrestling. This was for me. I loved it. Eventually, this ends with Rocky going for the armbar. Zack Sabre Jr. escaping with the calf crusher. They get into a hold, and Zack Sabre Jr. stretches Rocky, who taps out here. But this TV title run has been a work of art from Zack Sabre Jr. I have loved every minute of it. I've watched the whole thing in succession over the weekend because I'm just so blown away by what he's been able to do in establishing this title as the first champion. Match was super fun. We'll see what happens at Dominion this weekend. But what were your thoughts on this Tekker match for me?
Kate, did you think when they moved this show to Honor Club that it was going to become the Zack Sabre Jr. show? Did you think we were going to be able to be blessed with this Zack Sabre Jr. greatness every Thursday from 4 to 6?
I did not. And I don't know what I did in a past lifetime to earn this.
I don't know how we got here, but thank you to whoever did this.
I've always loved Zack Sabre Jr., but this is some of the most inspired wrestling work I've just ever seen. Like, he has transitioned from being the best technical wrestler in the world to, in my opinion, just the best wrestler in the world. Because when you're that good technically, the story just organically falls into itself. Even in matches like this, where there's not a full story, you just kind of create one. Man, I'm excited, Reg.
No, it feels like, to me, every time he has a Ring of Honor matches for Bryan Danielson, like, he only thinks one person is watching this match, and every time he twists somebody in the pretzel, every time he grabs somebody out of cravat, out of a dive, every time he snatches an arm out of nowhere, every time he steps on something, your ankle in a weird direction, he's like, Bryan Danielson, this is for you. Everybody says that you're the guy. Everybody says that you're the best technical wrestler in the world, but that's false. I'm the best technical wrestler in the world. He's been saying it for years now, but a year ago in the build to Forbidden Door, he called out Bryan Danielson, said that he wasn't that guy and that he was that guy. And Zack Sabre's been showing us on the brand that Bryan Danielson built on his home turf that, no, you're not that guy. I'm that guy. And to do it right here against Rocky Romero has been a great little treat these last couple of weeks too, just coming in here doing the thing that he does. He has so many different styles. It's great to see Rocky Romero do his thing, but Zack Sabre Jr., with this championship, with the time limit, with the run that he's on, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to take that championship from him. It's been incredible to be able to see who people legit call the best wrestler in the world, just like a regular Thursday. And I think that's kind of the best part, like how you said, like, it feels like he's in another level, but he feels even more like dickheadish in that it doesn't feel like it's anything to him. He's just like, yeah, whatever, I'll tie you up. I don't care. I'm the best guy here. I'll beat you. I'll tie you and your friend up, and I'll kick Bryan Danielson's ass. And that's where it's all leading to. It's just like, this is great.
It is so effortless. Like, it is. He is just so he's so in every moment. Because I've said it before, right? I think the Samoa Joe walkaway spot is the best spot in wrestling. You want to talk about exertion to punishment ratio? That guy sidesteps to the left 2 steps, and he lets a high flyer eat it. A close second and third are someone's on the top rope, and you go to the top rope and you put them in a top rope assisted freaking twisted cobra twist, whatever. Or you're like, I'm going to let him jump into a cravat. Yep. I love it. It all makes sense. And I love your spot, Fu, but of anything in the world, this is for me. I am here for it. This is good stuff. We got some love in the chats for this match. Thank you so much for sending those in. We'll wish Joel a happy birthday later, but We get a chat from Mike McVaney saying, good show tonight. Can't wait to see Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. go at it. And the women are killing it on ROH. Hell yeah, they are. I'm also incredibly excited for Samoa Joe versus Zack Sabre Jr. I'm intrigued about where it happens because they owe us. They owe us, Reg.
When could it happen?
Owe us, Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson. Okay, that's the Forbidden Door match. So
Forbidden Door, yeah, I guess that could just be what it is, actually. Right.
They better give me Danielson at Forbidden Door. That's what I'm saying, though. When is Joe gonna be at Forbidden Door? Or when are we getting Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. at the ROH pay-per-view?
Yeah, I would say maybe Forbidden Door, but like I don't know. There's a lot of shows coming up. There's collisions coming up. There's a lot of time that this could be had. So announce it. I mean, it's going to be interesting. They're building this whole thing on a Ring of Honor show and don't do it on a Ring of Honor show. So
it does feel like a betrayal to me personally.
Okay. Agreed.
I just feel like Forbidden Door, they owe us Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson. But this story
that's what I'm saying.
Joe is so good that I'm like, where do you do it at the next ROH pay-per-view? Because I guess Death Before Dishonor is not far off, right? Isn't that that's
I think they usually do that in July. Yeah, right. So
okay. So maybe.
But they got so much other stuff going on. Are they going to be able to squeeze in this pay-per-view between Forbidden Door and all these All In and All Out and all this other stuff? I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. I think Samoa Joe might have different plans on Collision, so I'm not worried about it sneaking there. Because somebody else is coming back. And I'm very happy. But we'll move along in the show. This was match of the night for me. Obviously, this is a 4K match right here.
Yes.
Luis say maybe we get Zack Sabre Jr. and Joe between the Collision debut and after Sunday's Dominion. Whew, yeah. Enjoy your passport being very full, fellas, because
right.
That's a lot of flying back and forth. I am intrigued to see what happens at Dominion because he is fighting Jeff Cobb, who is the only person to have gone the time limit with him. So it feels like there's an opportunity for Zack Sabre Jr. to lose that title, or maybe it's an opportunity for Zack Sabre Jr. to prove he can actually beat Jeff Cobb, or maybe something nefarious happens.
If Jeff Cobb beats Zack Sabre Jr. and then we get Jeff Cobb and Samoa Joe instead, I'm not hating it. I'm not hating it at all.
I don't hate that either. I don't even hate that as a triple threat, and I don't even like
triple threat. Yeah, me neither. Let's do it.
But those two big meaty men slapping me and Zack Sabre Jr., you can sign me up for that. I'm not having any complaints. But moving along to the Workhorsemen, who I'm also very excited to see, and Top Flight adjacent, as I will call them, Action Andretti and Darius Martin, who do pick up the win here. I liked a lot about this match. Anthony Henry catching Andretti in that moonsault and the combo that followed after it, I thought was super, super fun. Love commentary playing into, well, if Dante comes back ahead of schedule, how's he going to feel about Andretti just stepping in here? We, by the way, on Rampage, get Zack Sabre Jr. versus Action Andretti. So that is another fun day for us at work. But this match was perfectly fine. I feel like the Workhorsemen fit in ROH, but they're such good utility players. I wouldn't be shocked to see them be a staple on something like Collision or whatever, because I feel like they're very valuable in the way they can work with everyone. They can make things feel important with or without a title. Doesn't rightfully matter. So I'm intrigued to see where they go. What were your thoughts on the match we saw tonight?
Yeah, I think that same thing. I think I love what the Workhorsemen are doing in Ring of Honor, and I think they gel well with pretty much every tag team. But yeah, they're so good at their jobs that they could be every Saturday night trying to rebuild this tag team division or wherever the tag team division kind of lands here in AEW moving forward. They're just so good that you need to see them over there. But yeah, they were on display here in this match. I think tag team like Top Flight with Action Andretti is a great opponents for the Workhorsemen just because of the styles that they bring. Anytime you see JD Drake in there with someone that's, trying to evade and get away from him, but then he catches him. And when he does that outside, bounce him off the ropes, clobbering thing, it's just like, that's just some big, hunky, angry stuff. He's so cool. He's such a different but kind of old school but new school. He mixes so many different styles together. Him and Anthony Henry are such a great tag team. I love seeing them in Ring of Honor, but they can be contenders for the tag team championships with a couple wins. They're one of those tag teams that if they went on a win streak right now, they'd be believable and people would be behind them being contenders for the AEW World Championships potentially.
FTR versus the Workhorsemen? Yes.
Right? Right. Didn't they kind of tease that a couple weeks ago and then we didn't hear about it again?
It did feel like they planted maybe a seed for that. So, and it felt like we're maybe getting Bullet Club Gold against FTR. Yeah. And as an interim program, I also really like that in general. But just take me back to 80s NWA, give you this Workhorsemen versus FTR match, man. Like, that is that's some graps right there. I will absolutely take it. The Real Nerd chiming in via Humper Chat. We thank you so much, saying, I was at ROH tapings at MGM Grand and it was a lot of fun. Well, so was someone else. It was a really long 6-hour taping in total with the AEW tapings, but some great matches. Yes. So great matches I've come to expect. In fact, sometimes we get 19 of them. But I was relieved to see some story coming back here with the Righteous in the Dark Order. We get a little bit more fleshed out things in the women's picture, obviously with Kiera, Hogan, and Athena. There is a story with Zack Sabre Jr. and Samoa Joe. So I was happy that we got some story injected back in here. That made me really happy, as well as some absolute banger matches. One that was not a banger match, but not a bad match, just a real short match, is we got Kip Sabian and Butcher and Blade with Penelope Ford defeating Bryce, Saturn, Jakob Austin Young, and Shogun Jones. Not a ton to say about here. Kip taking out one of the guys, I can't remember which, I'm so sorry, with that Anarchy suplex. Butcher and Blade dragging who was it? Angelico? What did we get here? Sorry.
This was
Angelico was in the next match. My notes are just messed up. It was a quick win. It was so fast. A drag the lake on another for a quick win here. It happened really, really quick. But unsurprisingly, I feel like Butcher and Blade are actually a fantastic fit for this tag division. So I don't mind them working here. Still itching for that clarity, but this was a rather convincing win, I would say. Your thoughts?
I'd like to see Butcher and the Blade all the time, so seeing them here is great. And Kip Sabian too, I think, still hasn't really gotten to show who he actually is. He's done a bunch of character work and he's been involved in some angles, but I think if he went singles here in the Ring of Honor division and got back to what he used to do, because it feels like we haven't seen it in a long time, he could be pretty good here in Ring of Honor. So seeing these guys, I hope they're not just a one-off. I agree, like you said. I think here in this division, Butcher and the Blade could be a great addition. So, the match was too short to even be anything. It was just a squash, even less than a squash, it feels like.
Yeah, it was a smoosh. It was a
definitely was a smoosh.
A smoosh. We are coming down the home stretch, guys. Please get in your super chats and humper chats. Also, happy Pride Month, you guys.
Yes.
That it's June 1st. Wrestling is for everyone. Fightful is for everyone. If you're an absolute dickhead, you'll get thrown out of our chat by Luis. You're always gone. Safe to hang out here. We love you for who you are. Happy Pride. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. That's not all I got to say about that. I mouth off on Twitter a lot, but totally. We move along to Angelico. Jack Cartwheel making his debut, I believe, and Serpentico with Luther. I threw Jack Cartwheel out as a name I'd like to see kind of randomly. And I guess I'm just like a very powerful manifester because here he is. And I thought he showed out tonight. This was really, really, really fun. I had an absolute blast watching this match. They are up against, of course, the Reg part of the show. Vikingo and Komander. I thought Vikingo and Jack Cartwheel especially had some really, really standout chemistry in this match. The drop kick that took Jack Cartwheel out, I thought was amazing.
Oh my goodness!
Holy hell! Someone get the man an ice pack. He is not cartwheeling back up that ramp, homie.
They accelerated. That looked like a Looney Tunes bit or something, the way that they did Jack Cartwheel with that drop kick.
It was one of those things where the timing was just as precise as the timing could have been.
Right.
I thought this was a whole heck of a lot of fun. I might have started the episode with this, but I mean, starting it with Maria Kanellis, like I said, not a bad call, but this was a really, really fun match. I loved it. And I'm not even the spot foo advocate for this brand. You are, Reg. What did you think of this?
Yeah, like someone said in the chat, I was sitting like in the media section or whatever. When you go as media, they kind of sit you guys all in one section.
When you go, guys, listen to what's happening.
I'm not trying to flex like this.
Let's listen to what. Let's just put the past week together, all right, with Reg. Let's review, all right. Oh, 19 match card. Oh, I'm busy. I was bumping shoulders with Trish Adora. In the media let me tell you how it is in the media section of ROH. Okay, let me just no, I'm just kidding. Go right ahead.
No, I deserved it. So yeah, by the end of the show, as you guys can see, everybody's like, I'm out of here, dude. I'm not gonna stay for 6 more hours. So it's clear down here. I'm like, I see those 3 names pop up. I'm like, oh, it's time to go down there and watch. My favorite luchadors coming on. Komander's here, Vikingo, Bandido, like, yo. And then so, like you were saying, Jack Cartwheel, I see a lot of him. I think he's from Sacramento, like your favorite British talent, Timothy Thatcher. They're Sacramento brothers.
He's from the islands of Sheffield, all right?
Yeah, so I see a lot of him, and it's awesome to see him here, West Coast representing. And he got to get a lot of shine in this match with some of the best luchadors in the world. I saw a tweet yesterday that I thought was interesting. Someone said it was a video of the Komander dive that he does in every match, walking the ropes into the insane dive. And the tweet said, it's not as special because he always does it. And I thought, that's funny. I think the special thing about it is that he always does it. Like it's not like a one-time only big WrestleMania spot. It's like, no, he does this insane spot every single match just because he wants to, just because it's fun to him and because it's a cool dive. That makes it more insane to me that he's like, it's not like I need to practice my cool spot. He's like, no, I'm gonna do it in this match tomorrow too. And then on Saturday, I'm gonna do it again. And then on Sunday, I'm gonna do it again. That's what's cool.
I'll do it in a damn battle royal.
Who cares? Yeah, I'm on AEW. Yeah. How long am I going to be in the match? For 13 seconds. That means I have 13 seconds to do my dive.
My shit in.
That's it. That's the man. That's who they is. This was a supreme spot foo, as Righteous Reg would say. These guys were going 100 miles per hour.
I'm sorry, guy who big timed us last week and is sitting in the media section now quoting himself in the third person. What have you become?
Look, I'm just going all in with the gimmick. I'm going all in. That's who I am. That's who I am.
All in? What, you're going to be in the media section at Wembley too, huh? Is that what we're doing?
I wish, man. I'm going to try to. My friend, help me. My friend, at blah, blah, blah. At no, okay. Listen, after such a long taping, like we've said very often in this podcast, these guys brought us back to the show. Like, we're chanting, this is awesome, this is amazing, this is all these things after we've been here for 5 hours. So, I mean, a great way to bring us back after such a long taping, but you shouldn't be bringing us back, man. Just give me 4 hours maximum. What are we doing here for 6 hours? I want to go outside and hit the penny slots. I can't hit the penny slots if I'm in here watching Vikingo flip. I love watching him flip, but I want to be hitting them penny slots.
Oh, Reg, when some people have to pay for their tickets, maybe they want to get their money's worth. All right.
Damn it, they're about to get me out of here.
Oh, funny shit.
Fight Forever, June 29th. Get that. It's going to be dope.
Somebody going to make you in the game?
I hope so. That would be dope.
So
too. I still haven't gotten to play that game, and my friend works there. I need perks. I need something.
Does he?
Come on, my friend works there. Send me a copy, somebody.
Did you guys know Reg's friend works at AEW?
Everybody knows.
I would like to think he's my friend too. Damn.
Our friend works there. Send Kate a copy too.
Buried out here.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of getting buried, but not really buried in a fun way, we get our ROH Pure Championship match with Shibata and Alex Coughlin in a match that went differently than I was anticipating, but used the Pure rules in a really, really, really fun way. It was booked winner-wise exactly how I thought it was going to go. But the story of this match, with Coughlin using his 3 rope breaks so early in the process, I loved this because it just felt like Shibata was like, I've taught you better than that. For like the whole first leg of this match was Shibata with this, like, normally you see like the student rising up against the teacher and it's like a show of respect, or their youth is overcoming the veteran status. This was like, you're not there yet, and I'm kind of disappointed in you, and now I'm going to kick your ass about it. Oh, I loved it. And we have not seen that type of story with the Pure title in a really long time. Like what Wheeler Yuta was doing with it was so different than a match that would be like someone hits 3 rope breaks pretty quick, and now the story of the match is navigating that and trying not to lose in that way. Also, realistically, not like Shibata can't go, my God, but he's, been through a lot. His brain was taken out of his head at one point. You're probably going to be a little bit more careful. This is a really great protected story to tell that lets you choose points for emphasis. I thought this was great and was very unexpected in the story they were telling, but I really, really liked it. What were your thoughts on our Pure title match, which we got to see on ROH tonight, which was refreshing?
Wow. Thanks for us. Shout out to us. We get to see a title match on a show that has a bunch of championships that sometimes are defended. Shibata has been awesome to see all these weeks. Them telling the story with Coughlin of him kind of, I think anybody that kind of trained under Shibata in that New Japan dojo could psych themselves out of the match before they even get there, because they've seen Shibata in, they've been scared to death that this guy was going to kick their head in during training.
And who knows your playbook better than the guy that taught you,
exactly, right? He knows every move that you're going to do because he taught you all those moves. And he knows that if it's a hard place to be, because if you learn something and you didn't tell him about it, he's going to be mad because you didn't tell him about your new techniques. And if you try to bust some new techniques out on your trainer, he's going to be mad again. So there's like no way to go but down. Coughlin got destroyed here because they told the story a few weeks ago when they tagged up and he was in there, and Shibata got in and tagged himself in and was like, he kind of did the Claudio and Yuta thing of like, nah, it's time for you to get out of here. It's time for me to get in here. You're embarrassing me in front of all these people. I taught you how to do this, and you're doing this to your dad out here on the show. It's like, I love that angry dad on the apron thing. It's always great. Him and Claudio do it perfectly. Coughlin got his shit in though. He did his from his ass to his feet suplex spot, holding a person up. That is just an incredible feat of strength. Shibata and Lee Moriarty tomorrow. That's all. That's the only way I can really end this.
Shibata and Lee Moriarty. What a time to be a wrestling fan. What? Zack Sabre Jr. in action, Andretti. Willow versus Emmy? Come on.
Huh?
Come on.
Insane.
Embarrassment of riches on Rampage tomorrow. Again, I've earned it, okay? I've reviewed some Rampages that were like, this is going on at 4:30 p.m. and we're not going to maybe build out a ton for it, okay?
I mean,
this one's for me. This week is for Kate. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
I adored... Where's the comment? Where is the comment? Somebody... Man, there it is. This, Reg. Make an ROH section just for Kate. A downloadable character. You're not the only one sitting in the media section, okay? I can be there too.
Well,
in my dreams, I guess I can be in the ROH media section.
Agreed.
It's main event time, Reg. Okay.
Yes.
We've got Athena and Kiera Hogan, and a story that got set up kind of last week. I'm doubtful that in your spare time since you've come back. You've had any time to catch up on 19 matches, but a really nice through line in what we got last week was Kiera Hogan coming in, not happy with the way Athena's been running things. Probably a little reminiscent of someone that maybe she was a baddie for. Loved what we got here. Kiera Hogan just brings so much intensity to everything she does. It's the absolute best. I thought this match was a whole heck of a lot of fun. Very happy to see Kiera Hogan back on my TV. And also little things of Athena, like using a hammerlock suplex today, which she was more using like that Saito suplex. Her like upping her game while she's getting more vicious is really fun. Of just like, I need to fight people and I need to be getting better all the time. Cause like she's just maniacal with this title. Absolute ass kicking match. After the match, we get some shenanigans, not real shenanigans, but we get definitely not indie workers disguised as security coming down, and Kiera Hogan absolutely losing it as Athena is on the floor with her title making snow angels. Felt very CM Punk to me. It warmed my heart. But Kiera Hogan just going ballistic after this. Looks like we might be running this back. I'm intrigued to see where this leads. A lot of possibilities, but an incredible main event. You say it week over week. Athena is the MVP of this brand. 4 Black women's wrestlers on our television tonight. We got Trinity on Impact as the Impact crew is hanging out backstage with birthday boy Joel. What did you think of our main here?
This, like we were talking about earlier about the Black women, I'm happy. It's kind of crazy that it's become so normal that two black women main evented this wrestling show. And someone was asking, I think it's the homie Shane Monster in the chat. This was the last match of the entire show. The last match that everybody saw before we went home. So you had to wait through a lot of wrestling to see the Ring of Honor Women's MVP Athena do it with Kiera Hogan. Look, regardless of that, they had a great match, and I thought they had a great angle to put over Kiera as the next contender for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. But it's hard. Like it's frustrating because you just want these women to have more. I want more people to be watching this match because, like I said, 2 black women are main eventing this show, and they're both great, and they're both aggressive, and they're both trying to establish themselves as the best in the world. This match was awesome. I'm happy that Kiara's getting opportunity to be the next contender for the championship. And Athena just does it again. I love that she gave Kiera so much. They brought it up on commentary. This is one of Athena's toughest fights. It wasn't an easy one for her. She didn't just dominate like she usually did. She was in a fight. They had a big brawl at the end. The brawl felt like it was going for a long time in the arena, probably because we had been there for a full work shift worth of tapings. And on this episode, it was going and going and going. So they're really trying to establish that this could be a really tough test for Athena. So I'm excited to see what they do moving forward with these 2 women.
I am too. We got a couple of chats to round us out before we bring on the Impact crew. Matthew Plus saying, how is Tony's ROH different than Dark Elevation? Well, if you asked me last week, I would have said in 0 ways. But this week,
it's not.
This week, it's not. A lot more story coming back with the trios. A lot more story in this women's title picture. The Zack Sabre Jr. and Samoa Joe story is being built out further than this kind of one-off that we got last week into this week. It's getting there, and I think after the Collision debut, it's going to be there a little bit more fully, but the troll, Matthew Plus also chimed in saying, I would be more inclined to pay for ROH if they traveled and performed in gyms throughout the country, sell $5 beers, and bring the atmosphere back. Yeah, I mean,
same here.
Ad nauseum, we've said, right? Like the touring episodes feel a little bit more off. Tonight's, I think, was the best of those that we've seen, but the crowd energy is undeniably way lower because they're just fatigued. They've been there a really long time. And the other thing is you're putting the most in-ring centric brand at the most fatigued part. So the things that kind of normally would break that up for you aren't really there doing it. Now there's always going to be nerds like me who see a pure title matches on the card, and I will stay until 3 a.m. if I have to. But as much as I like it when Matthew Plus is wrong, I agree with him in this case. I do know that he lives in the Baltimore area too, so he's probably just a little sad that ROH up and left that area. But I am too, because that was drivable for me. But I agree, and I think we've talked about that a little bit. It does feel like we're getting back on track a little bit more now. But RH saying, starting late on the post show at the beginning, but just wanted to show some love for ROH. Righteous Reg and Kate. Well, thank you, RH. We appreciate you.
That,
RH. Johnny. Here's Johnny chiming in saying, best wrestler, tag team, and match so far this year. Whoo! Match for me is Danielson MJF in the singles championship match. Wrestler of the year for me, it's probably Zack Sabre Jr. at this point. Tag team, obviously it's Jeff Jarrett and
my match of the year is still Kenny and Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom.
Extremely.
It's gonna be hard to get over that one. Wrestler of the year. I'll go with Kenny also. I like what he's doing here. He has a pretty strong going here. And tag team of the year, I'm not WWE guy, but Sammy and Kevin, man, those are my guys forever. I don't care.
Yeah, that's the actual answer. Sammy and Kevin are that team. They're the best, even though their booking is a little sideways. They're the best. They're the best in the whole wide world. Shane Monster saying, hope everyone had a great weekend and had some prime grass touching time. Kiera and Athena just brawling, but I hope Kiera wasn't legit hurt. Yeah, there was that was a hard-hitting match, and I don't know if she came out of that unscathed. I hope so. I would think
she's okay. Yeah,
I would think we would have heard by now, or we had a man on the inside. I don't know if you guys heard, but Reg was there, so.
Probably would have heard something if she was hurt, for real.
That's right. Yeah, I think so too. We're going to bring on our Impact crew because we do have a couple of happy chats for Joel Pearl, of all people, wishing him a happy birthday. We're going to get a little bit of a teaser about what happened on Impact, as well as we bring on the incredible, wonderful, I'm told fancy Cresta star today. I think.
Wow. Nah, I got lazy. I gave up. It's so hot outside. I look a mess. I was going to be real cute, but when I came home, I wanted to throw my whole body in a lake of water. It's so hot outside.
You look beautiful. Okay.
I'll take it. Thank you.
You look great. Ricardo wishes Joel a happy birthday, mon ami.
Happy birthday, Joel. Oh.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And
happy birthday! Pew, 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 pew. If I had those things, I'd shoot them off right now, but I don't have sound effects. Sorry.
That's right.
I have a soundboard on my Discord, but I feel like the moment I get in Discord, someone's going to come in and say something really inappropriate. So,
Fair enough. We have a request for me to sing "Happy Birthday" to you in my Tiffany Stratton impression, which I will do shortly. But we have the Pro Wrestling Podcast, aka CM Punk's besties, saying, I already know who's the number one contender for comeback of the year. Oh, boy. Yep. But Joel, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joel. Happy birthday to you. Toodles. That's my
the second best gift I've received today.
Happy birthday, Joel. I hope you win money and find money.
Win money and find money.
What's better than finding $20 on the floor?
Hey, double money. I'm into it.
That's right. Just get it all. Why not?
Extra chicken nugget in your nugget box.
In your nugget box.
We ordered from the pierogi place. It wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good?
It wasn't very good. It was like, we're going to do chicken chips with pierogies. And I'm like, that's strange. Let's go. And I tried it and I'm like, this ain't good. This ain't good.
That's
what I get.
I'm sorry.
It happens. Not the worst.
Not the birthday treat. You're supposed to have a good treat on your birthday. You got to get ice cream or something to counteract it.
After this, absolutely going to raid that fridge. Let's go.
Yeah.
His kid took a nap. He was a happy camper today. He'll take it, right?
First 2 hours in daycare. Let's go.
Before we throw over to Impact, I'm so glad Cresta's here because we were talking a little bit about we had 4 awesome Black women's wrestlers on ROH today. 2 of them main eventing. Yeah, we got Trinity on Impact. Things are good right now in the world of women's wrestling, especially for Black women's wrestlers. We'd love to see it. What was your standouts of Impact today?
Honestly, the whole show was really good. Maybe it was just me, but I was very sports entertained.
Yes.
Even with Bully Ray at the top of the hour, because he normally works my nerves. But everything, it was a good match. The match with Trinity and Savannah Evans in particular, that was a good-looking match. Everyone's gear, hair, makeup, everyone looked so good. Even Jordan Grace, as they took that woman's life on television. I think you need to lay low, Giselle Shaw. You might have concussed her. Like everyone looked so good. We're eating good. Unfortunately, Mercedes Moné being injured sucks. But Willow Nightingale as your new, I want to say IWGP, but I feel like that's wrong. And I don't watch New Japan. Please don't kill me.
New Japan Strong.
New Japan Strong.
New Japan Strong champion. 10 out of 10. I always thought Willow Nightingale was amazing. I thought Athena was going to be the girl to dethrone Jade. So to hear her just being a bully in Ring of Honor brings joy to my heart.
Yeah, but can we talk about Alex Coughlin for a second?
We can.
Talk about how great of a pure style wrestler he is, and how Jeremy and I interviewed him over on In the Weeds on Fightful Overbooked.
Shameless plug. I love it.
Hey.
Joel is fault. You should have heard Reg earlier. I was in Vegas with my friends in AEW. Oh, me and Trish Adora are best friends. I had media pass.
Hey, we don't get flued out. Who's gonna fly me and Kate out? This is malarkey.
I didn't say all that.
Support women. Okay, that's what we're saying. Fly us out there. That's verbatim what Reg said. Word for word.
Are you coming to Toronto? Are you coming to Toronto for Forbidden Door or no?
No, see, I don't be getting flued out. If that was true, somebody would be fluing me out.
Okay, that's fair, but y'all have gone elsewhere for pay-per-views. Have you been to Chicago? I can't remember.
No, I haven't, but I'm trying to this year for All Out is what they call it. There's so many events going on. You know.
Okay, gotcha.
He's got so many media credentials sitting.
He's so popular. He has to clear his schedule.
You gotta get this sticker wall of one day.
Leave me alone. Speaking of, I'm very excited about Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly in a dog collars match. That's gonna be so fire.
So what's
that
weird?
promo was peak. I don't know how else to say it besides I'm horny. Like that promo. I don't know if it was a promo or a porno. Like holy hell, I want to see it. No matter what happens, I want to see it. But I don't know if that was for wrestling. I don't know.
Cresta, we sit here every week and we talk about Kinky Killer Kelly, and she's just living up to the name.
See,
come on, I'm with it. Happy Pride.
That
it's
might
Pride.
be a little
That's
too
what
many.
I'm saying.
That might be a little too many K's for
true.
me, though. I don't know.
That's
She
true.
might have to get another
That's true.
Kinky Killer Kelly. I don't know if I can stand behind that name. That's crazy.
That's a fair point.
I found it interesting that when the spoilers came out, people were saying that the match was happening at Slammiversary, and I was like, how are they going to kill that much time? No, it's happening next Friday at Against All Odds, which is wild enough that they're running another special. Oh, like
no way!
They just did one like this last weekend, didn't they?
Running around this time.
We're gonna be back.
I'm Scott DeMoore, and it's a day of the week that has a vowel in it. We should probably do a special.
Don't do Joel's dad like that on the day of his birth. Not like that.
They put your dad through a fireman table. Was he okay?
He's fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
He's got a son in NXT.
Yep.
And he's got you over here. My goodness, there's a lot happening. But
hey man, you run one wrestling school, you don't know who you're fathering.
That's true.
Listen, Joel, when you talk to your dad next time, tell him I'm trying to get flued out to the show in White Plains. I'll come there and sit next to George Iceman and harass him the whole time.
There you go.
Absolutely get out to that show in White Plains.
I live in the city. That's far.
No, you can find a way.
It's not a train ride. I
Come
live on the
on.
Metro North.
Come on. We'll figure it out.
Cresta, maybe we'll talk off of this, but maybe Impact in Philly as a possible.
I am going to SmackDown in July after the Money in the Bank. So my friend got me that as a birthday gift since we talk about birthdays. So I'll be there. If you see me, no, you don't. I'm kidding.
Well, we will throw it over to the Impact crew. Joe, I'm still saying Joe Gacy. There you go.
Damn, on the day of his birth.
I know.
Wow.
It's Joe Gacy's birthday today. Joel, happy birthday, buddy. Sincerely,
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate
So
it.
much for this network. We appreciate you. I love our Sundays. I appreciate all of the extra stuff that you do that doesn't even fall under your umbrella here. And I just overall appreciate you being a good person. Never mind all of the extra things you go out of your way to do. Cresta, you're incredible. I'm so excited to hear about Impact. And Reg, thank you for bothering to show up. I know you've got a lot of more important things going on.
I'm busy, Kate. I'm busy.
I know. We really appreciate you stopping by. What a blast of a show we've had tonight. Keep it rolling with Impact. We appreciate you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned to hear about this really great show that Impact put on.
Yes, sir. Cresta, it's 90 degrees in this place. I am hot as balls.
I have my AC on in the background, and I feel like you guys can hear that they're just going, me.
I can't, and I have a fan going in the back. So, like, you can see the hair. You can see my hair moving because there's a fan, like, right here next to me.
Joel, you're AI. You're being printed as we speak.
The AC in my building hasn't been fixed yet. It's a whole shadoo, let me tell you.
Electric chair.
No, that's what they want from this condo board. Oh my God. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Shall we get into it?
Yes, Impact tonight. So are good are. I had to turn the page back. Let's go.
All right, here we go. And 1 and 2 and stuff under my nails. Hold on. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com. It's June the 1st. Happy birthday to me. It's time for your Impact Wrestling post-show. It's good to be Impact. Listen, it's good to be Impact as long as you're ready, willing, and able to commit to a whole lot of shows clumped tightly together, because Under Siege was this past Friday. Cresta and I did have our post-show. And then we have Impact tonight. Next week, we have, of course, on Thursday, the Impact post show, along with the post Ring of Honor show. And then the next night, being the Friday, will be the post Against All Odds show, because apparently Impact is running show after show after show after show after show. And we love Impact, so we're going to cover it. Cresta Star is with me, as she always is. How are you, Cresta Star?
Now that you've ran off all of that wrestling, all I could think of, and I don't think you've ever seen Bad Girls Club, but there's a clip of it where someone says, I didn't get no sleep because of y'all, and y'all ain't getting no sleep because of me. And that's how I feel about wrestling right now. Like, my weekends, who needs them? I'm going to be at home watching Impact, and they did a good job of stacking up Against All Odds so close. Who needs sleep? Who needs a weekend?
Not me.
Not me either.
I haven't slept in days. I took a nap this afternoon because I'm so sleep deprived.
I love that for you.
Look in my eyes. What do you see? Sleep deprived daddy is what you see. Okay.
That was a good one. That was a happy birthday, Joel. Ladies and gentlemen, we love Joel. We love Joel.
Anyway, let's go. There is wall-to-wall wrestling coming up. Like I said, we will be here next week for the post-Impact Wrestling show on Thursday, and then we will be here on Friday for the post-Against All Odds show. Stacked card. We will run it down this week because it appears they've already set the card, and then next week we'll give our predictions. But why not start, as we always do, with BTI and Mr. George Iceman? And by the way, I knew exactly where Mr. Iceman was filming this week.
Are you being a creep, Joel?
No, I just happened to know he was in downtown Toronto, and I was like, because he had the Universal Music Canada sign behind him. He was filming upward, and I'm like, oh, I know exactly where that is.
You couldn't have, I would have been fooled. I'm like, maybe they're in California.
You would think so, because the weather was beautiful, and like he had pseudo palm tree looking stuff.
Yeah,
I get it. And then I just looked around. I was like, wait a minute. That's Liberty Village. I know exactly where he is. Anthem's offices are like right there. So that's probably
nothing gets past you, Joel.
No, that's not it.
I will say this before we talk about George Iceman. I have never seen BTI run the recap where they did it entirely in black and white. I just happened to have it on the whole time. And when they recapped Macklin versus PCO, they showed that whole clip, that even the post-match clip, in black and white. Macklin was so bloody that I've neve never seen that. Holy cow. That's all I wanted to bring up.
Had to get them past the censors on YouTube. Otherwise, that show was not airing. And not even YouTube, because they aired the show, I think, they show it on Access. Either way, like wherever they show it, it needed to get past some censors in order to get clearance. And I get it.
I mean, I don't hate it. It kind of made it look more menacing, which was like, yikes. I don't want to see that in color. I could watch it in black and white, not in color, Your Honor. I'd watch it in black and white.
Well, you're talking about the black and white finish. Well, George Iceman says that there's no Scott D'Amore because he'll take time off due to the injuries he sustained from the flaming table incident. And Bully Ray is going to explain why he did what he did at the top of the show. But of course, with no Scott D'Amore, will the inmates run the asylum? And I'm like, well, I mean, last time they tried, Santino showed up, and Santino's still on the show as far as I could tell. So
yeah, like Santino's there unless Dango's going to. Nah, Dango already tried to take him out. He doesn't die. So,
Santino doesn't die. Anyway, hey, by the way, we don't die either, but we will appreciate it if you leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you want to support us here at Fightful.com, go ahead, leave us a super chat here on the video. Any question or statement, any amount gets your question or statement read on the air. Easy for me to say. Or go to humperchats.com. That is where Cresta pipes in and tells you all about it.
You're going to type your fingers over at humperchats.com. You're going to be like, Joel, Cresta, what is the meaning of professional wrestling? You'll put in your donation amount. We'll give you an answer like the meaning of professional wrestling is 42. Thank you so much. We get to keep a little bit more of the cut. We're happy. Sean's happy. The lights stay on. Humperchats.com. Ding.
Bing. Damn it. I said I wouldn't do it.
Bing bong.
Every time. Brian Myers takes on Tyler Turva. Turva's a local talent to the Toronto indie scene. Very cool to see him on Impact. They set this match up at the press conference last week that we kind of talked about last Friday. Either way, finally, the match was fine. It was as expected. I love that the whole time Gia Miller's like, Tyler Turva says he's young, fit, and stupid pretty, and he's one of those things. Cresta, what one of those things do you think Tyler Turva is? Young, fit, or stupid pretty?
Pretty.
Stupid pretty.
Oh. Pretty.
Stupid. Anyway, he loses this match, but it looked pretty good at it. He's got a top rope handstand splash that he calls the Topsy Turva, which it just tickles me. I love it when they name names very sillily, and that's it. Turva evades disaster at one point. He's trying to get into a flip position, and there's noise outside. Just ignore it, I swear. It's fine. Don't
worries.
It's okay.
We don't judge. I live in New York.
Exactly. He turns it into a sunset flip pin after the flip kind of goes awry, and it almost turned into disaster. So he got out of that. He avoided it. Good stuff there. Myers eventually crotches Turva on the top rope, hits the roster cut, gets the win. I don't have anything to add to this. Tyler Turva looked good for what was his I don't know if that was his Impact debut, but he looked good here. What do you think?
I thought he looked great. Sorry, my voice tried to run away. I had to jam it back in. I thought he looked great here. He worked really well. The good hands, shenanigan, and all up in the match, not mad at it. I think at this point, whenever you're the ref, I would just eject them from start. Because I think in the last 3 matches the good hands have been in, they've been ejected from the match. So it was a good, fine, standard match. I hope to see Mr. Turva. Yeah, Topsy Turva. I hope to see him back because he was really good. I like him.
He was, and he will most likely be back. Impact does come back to Windsor. He'll probably get the call for that. And in August, they're going to be back in Toronto. Wouldn't be surprised to see him back there as well. Yeah, it's good. I'm excited to see him get some Topsy Turva time.
Yeah.
Impact opens up with Bully Ray coming out. He's got to address the crowd, the audience, and explain himself. He says, "Do you know who I am?" And by the way, when he does that, I'm now thinking it's the new whoop. So what do you want to talk about?
I agree. That's his. What do you want to talk about? Or someone who I don't know who else has a catchphrase. It'll come to me while you're speaking, but continue. But
it's that. That's what it is. What do you want to talk about? Anyway, he says, "I'm the most hated man in this company in the entire wrestling business today." By the way, I like outside of the NWA where he's somehow still a face. Not important. He says his entire career is about putting people through tables. Nobody's done it better. He says, men, women, old ladies, owners of companies, presidents of Impact Wrestling, I put them through tables. And he says, you know, really piss me off and you get under my skin. I light that table on fire. And then he says, under siege, I took Scott D'Amore. He pissed me off and I burnt him to a crisp. And so I'm going to win the 8-4-1 match, go on to Slammiversary and become a 3-time Impact champion. Out comes Steve Macklin. Macklin says, I loved every bit of what we did. But the only reason it happened is because I, Steve Macklin, allowed you to. Bully starts getting hot. He's getting real, and then all of a sudden stops himself. And he says, you know what? Steve Macklin, you're right. You're the world champion. I'm wrong. And then Macklin says, Bully, you did the right thing. You acknowledged me as the man around here, as the champion. And then Bully's like, well, what if we continued as a team? And what if we did what we did in Under Siege? We continue as a team. And Bully's like, well, not if I win it against all odds and go on a Slammiversary. And Macklin's like, well, I'd be more than happy to be your opponent. And then out come Motor City Machine Guns. This is a whole opening segment of everyone's just coming out Cresta. Like, I don't even know where to go with here. Shelly comes out. He's like, I'm the #1 contender. Macklin's not going to walk out as champion. Bully's like, timeout. I could dress you down on the mic, Alex Shelley. I could berate you, but I'm one of the most honest people in this industry. And he calls Alex Shelley a great professional wrestler. Says, you know, Motor City Machine Guns, Team 3D tore down all the houses in Impact. They did all the great things. Bully says Shelley could never win the big one, and that's what bugs him. And then Sabian, Chris Sabian, his tag team partner, pulls out the mic and says, Bully, 10 years ago, you said the same thing to me, and I beat you for that Impact World title.
That was such a good comeback line. Such a good line.
But then Bully comes back, and he's like, and then I won it back 1 month later. And Macklin's like, no, okay, we're not doing this right now. We're not, no history lessons. Macklin calls Shelley arrogant, said he proved everybody wrong by becoming champion. So what makes Shelley so sure that he can beat him, that he can even do it? And Shelley just says, yep, I like this. This is where the end of this promo actually got really good. He says, what's different this time? He says, you're no Josh Alexander. If he had gotten hurt, Macklin wouldn't be champion. And then Sabian challenges Bully and Macklin to a tag match. Bully says, absolutely, but not tonight. And for some reason, now comes Subculture. And I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here. But Subculture is just like, hey, listen, if we're throwing out open challenges, we'll do it. So Motor City Machine Guns versus Subculture is the dream match they want. Shelley's like, let's do it. And then Macklin's like, or they tell Macklin to keep his eyes open ahead of Against All Odds. That's the segment. For Christ's sake, Cresta, talk to me because I just did a lot of it.
Got you. Let's go from the top of the promo. When Bully Ray said, I'm the most hated man in wrestling, at first I was like, normally I don't disagree with you, Bully. Normally I don't agree with you, Bully, but you might be right. But then I thought about it. You're not the most hated man in wrestling. And you're not even the most hated person in Impact Wrestling. Darn. I had to really think about it. I was like, ay. It was good. It was good. When he said, I only allow you to do something, and Bully Ray switched, I felt like in that moment, based off of Bully Ray's character, you know the type of person you can work with. You can't goad him the way you could goad Josh Alexander and be Mr. Nice Guy. With Macklin, they're positioning him in a way where it looks like he has an ego problem or you need to respect me problem. So I can see Bully Ray trying to worm his way into it. I could also see Macklin beating him out of Bully Ray. Low-key don't want to see that because again, y'all know how I feel about Bully Ray, but like elder abuse, you already did it to PCO. I don't need to see it again. I don't need to see it again.
I kind of like the idea though, because if Macklin beats the shit out of Bully, Macklin says, I'm the top dog. I'm the most hated, not you.
That's true. That's a fair point. That is a fair point. I'll also say what he said. Nah, skip that. Because when Bully Ray was like, you could have your little moment or whatever, it's like, bro, but Macklin did have his moment. For all of the naysayers, including myself and anyone who were like, whatever, Macklin really did that against PCO to a point where it's almost unnecessary. So you can't be mad at him, Bully Ray. The fans also for this segment was amazing. When someone said, Bully Ray had said, I'm going to take it off you. Someone in the crowd said, no chance. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Motor City Machine Guns, he's absolutely right. Alex Shelley's name should be considered when we talk about greats, and his name is not brought up enough. A lot of people, and I've heard this promo from similar wrestlers in Impact before, a lot of people study Alex Shelley. A lot of people copy Alex Shelley. But when you talk about your top 5, you never mention Alex Shelley. But you'll look at Alex Shelley and the people that copied Alex Shelley and say them, but you won't mention Alex Shelley, which I thought was crazy. And then when he said, bro, your people like you don't win this, I was like, oh my God, I can hear Triple H. That's my line. That's my line. But also, Chris Sabin made a good point. Even though you took it off of him a month later, he still took it off of you after you said he couldn't. So, also that Josh Alexander line, I can see Josh at home like, I'm not even there.
You gotta keep the seat warm. You gotta keep the throne hot for when Josh comes back, right?
I mean, I guess it was so funny because I was one of those people, much like you, Joel's like, Macklin's gonna take it off of Alexander. But I have heard people say, that's not happening. They building Macklin up to get his feelings hurt. That's the PG-13 version. To get his feelings hurt. So for them to say that on TV, I was like, yikes. And then when he was like, I don't know why you laughing, oh man, Josh Alexander beat you up. Motor City Machine Guns are one of the best tag teams nobody talks about and individual wrestlers nobody talks about because that was classic. That was such a good promo from everyone involved. And respect to Subculture for saying, if y'all don't fight, I'll do it. Because not every day you get a chance to fight Motor City Machine Guns. I'll do it. I respect it.
Yeah, and listen, the match, we're going to talk about it. That was the main event tonight, Motor City Machine Guns and Subculture. And that match was friggin' great. It was a little slow at first, and we'll get into it. But man, it went all sorts of great after it picked up. Yeah, but going back to the main event, you've got Shelly and Macklin at Against All Odds. Yeah, it feels like it's going to be another Macklin win, but then Bully's around the corner. The Slammiversary main event is going to be the 841 winner getting that. Where does Bully factor in? Bully, you got to assume Bully and Scott D'Amore have something coming up at Slammiversary, right?
I mean, anything Bully's in, I'm expecting shenanigans. I'm expecting cheating, eventually leading to a hardcore no rules match. So with that being said, I thought is the 841 an X Division match?
No, it's a World Heavyweight Championship #1 contender match.
Because I thought they said Bully Ray was going to go for the X Division champion to cash it in or something like that.
No, he's going to win the match at Against All Odds, and the winner of the match gets the #1 contendership for Slammiversary.
I mean, if he doesn't cheat or get cheated out his boots, I could see it because there's a lot of people in that match that could potentially win. And there's a few people that negate each other. Bully is one of those people that could potentially win, but he's also someone who gets negated by other people who you've screwed over. So I don't know. And Nick Aldis is in that match. You screw over Nick Aldis, you got Sheldon Jean, yeah. But Bully Ray, much like Eddie Edwards, has screwed over tons of people.
We'll talk about the 841 match when we run down that Against All Odds card. Speaking of Nick Aldis, we got another edition of What's All This Then?
Shut up!
They bring out Jimmy Jacobs to run these. I still don't know why Jimmy Jacobs is the guy running the What's All This Then segments with Nick Aldis, because like Gia Miller could do these, but why not her? Is she too short? Like I don't get it. Anyway,
I'm not moving. That's a missed opportunity. It's rude when you say it, but if they would have said it there to be funny, that's all I'm saying. It's rude when you say it.
I don't know what the deal is. I wish someone would explain to me.
That was free. I don't know why they didn't. What's all this then?
What's all this then? They should just call it. Anyway, and I see someone in the chat saying, like, I hated this segment. It makes Aldis seem self-centered. They have a point, so let's run it down. He says, when I'm dressed like this, I feel like a dangerous man. And the first thing I think about, I'm a Canadian. I'm like, you dress like Don Cherry. And that's not a good thing. Believe me, Canadians right now are like, no. Don Cherry has said some pretty stupid shit on the air. He was a hockey coach for years. He just became like this pundit and like this super conservative douchebag who says things on the air just to say it. Anyway, so I'm like, why are you dressed like Don Cherry? Oh, he's known for wearing like extravagant, ugly jackets and suits.
Not ugly. I thought the suit was nice.
No, he was wearing a plaid jacket and a black waistcoat. What did he think he was accomplishing here?
It's called fashion, Joel. Look it up.
What the? No, it's not. Dressing like a lumberjack in Canada is not fashion.
Yo, you're on fire tonight. Joel said it's my birthday. Bang, 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 bang.
feels tired tonight. Anyway, says he feels like a dangerous man because he's dressed like Don Cherry. And it says, I feel even more dangerous when I have the momentum behind me and I'm feeling like a dangerous man. He puts over Kenny King, which is great. Says I'll be part of 841. And then he says, what's so unique about this match is that I had to find the chemistry with 3 other men, and then they become my adversaries, and it takes a set of skills only a world champion understands. I'm looking at that field, by the way. I'm pretty sure everyone there has been a world champion in Impact, but we'll talk about that in a minute. He says, you add the set of skills, plus the momentum, plus the ability to adapt. I guarantee that I will win 841, and I will become the next Impact World Champion. Okay, so what do you think of this match? What do you think of this segment with Nick Aldis?
I have to agree with the self-centered thing now that it's been put to me in that way. I think there's better use of Nick Aldis's time. I think that there's a better way to use him to get over the fact that he is in Impact Wrestling. I think he's a great talker. I kind of feel like this segment isn't needed. You know what I mean? I feel like there's something else. I'd rather hear him backstage, like you said, with Gia Miller and Gia Miller asking him spicy-ish questions or whatever it is. So it's not relatively offensive. I just think that there's something better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he could have done something in the ring. He could have done an in-ring interview. That would have been good. I don't know what these... Again, we've mentioned this before on the show. When Aldis does these segments, he becomes British Cody Rhodes. He's got his own segment. He's got his own hype guy. He's got everything to himself. He's on his own Cody Island, Nick Aldis Island. And it just doesn't make sense. What are you doing here? And if this is all leading to Macklin winning and beating Nick Aldis, fine by me. But if this is leading to Nick Aldis winning the Impact World Championship, I have feelings, not happy ones about that.
My only complaint really about that segment is that they played his theme music all throughout it, and then it gets stuck in my head because it kind of sounds like Sheamus's old music, but like a lower, slower version. So all I'm hearing is over in my head. I'm like, please, no more. I don't know. I don't. After all that hard work Macklin did, it would be a shame for him to lose it this fast. But at the same time, Impact has a lot of good people, including Nick Aldis, who I wouldn't hate being champion. If you have feelings, I have feelings too.
It's fair. You're allowed to have your feelings. I feel like, speaking of feelings, there is an opportunity to have Macklin continue winning his matches. He's a heel. He can get away with it. It's fine. But I want to see Josh Alexander eventually come back, challenge for that title that he never lost, lose the first one to Shenanigans. You can run 3 matches out of this. I wouldn't hate that. But again, there's plenty of time because we don't know what the recovery timeline is for Josh Alexander. I just know that coming in and having Nick Aldis be the next guy, you don't need that. You don't
Brutus Magnus.
You don't need that at this juncture in Impact Wrestling. You have so many young guys and girls for that matter, because there have been female world champions. And you've talked about that on your interview in the Spotlight. We've talked about it on this show as well. There are other women who could challenge for the Impact World Championship. That doesn't need to be Nick Aldis. I don't know what this is. I've said this before. I wouldn't be surprised if this is because Nick is on a short-term handshake deal, according to reports. This is just him waiting out until WWE comes through for him, because they're in that hiring freeze. They're, the reported hiring freeze.
Don't do my man Impact like that. I always tell people this: all your favorite stuff come from Impact. Everyone just take from Impact, and then you want to be like, Impact sucks. After you done took my people, you took my wrestlers, you took my gimmicks, you took my pro. What I have left? I got nothing left, man.
I'll tell you someone who also has nothing left. That's Yuya Uemura, who gets his ass beat by Edward Edwards thanks to Lish. This match, it didn't do much for me. The end was fun just because Yuya goes for the crossbody. Edwards gets that awkward knee coming off the top rope from Yuya, and then hits a Tiger Driver, gets 2.9, and then follows up with the Boston Knee Party. Yuya looks fine. Again, Yuya knows how to wrestle. I'm still waiting for that moment that breaks through the Yuya Uemura story, because right now he's still young lion on excursion. Give me more. give me some. And unfortunately, Shota Umino in New Japan Pro Wrestling is doing the I look like Tanahashi's younger dipshit brother. So Yuya can't do that because Yuya has the hair and the look. He looks like Tana in a good way. But they're just not letting him do that because you have Shota being a shithead over there in New Japan, and that's his gimmick. So I don't know what to think of Yuya. I'm waiting for more, but that wasn't the point here. Post-match, Edwards pulls up Yuya and goes for the handshake and then does the too slow, and everyone's laughing and having a good time. And then Kazarian comes out. Frankie's like, hey, Edwards, you demand respect, but you refuse to give it to young stars like Yuya Uemura. This isn't how we were trained to conduct ourselves. And as Eddie walks away, Kazarian just cocks Edwards in the face, and then Lish jumps on Kazarian's back, and he just flips her to the floor. So, I mean, listen, everyone kind of sucks here. Am I right? Like, what do you think of the match, and what do you think of the post-match, Cresta?
I don't think everyone sucks here.
He flipped her.
Listen, Linda, listen. First of all, Lish was great here. Oh, before y'all have your pitchforks, it's like, Cresta, are you well? I like this heel version of Lish. It's obnoxious, drunk Boston woman at 3 a.m. telling you, let's go, Eddie. Kelly, when she was yelling for him to give us in Boston, he was like, I know that girl. I've definitely seen that girl do a bunch of Jaeger bombs at the bar, and now her boyfriend's outside fighting because the other guy gave her a look. I know that girl. It's better than what she was doing, which is, I'm a heel, kinda, but now she's just nasty, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Also, Frankie Kazarian, you're not a baby face here. You sucker punch Eddie Edwards. Not saying that Eddie Edwards don't deserve it because he's Eddie Edwards, but then you also yeeted Lish, who again also kind of deserved it. I thought this was comedy. I'm like, yo, I guess you're on your Kevin Owens shit. You don't care about nothing. Everybody's getting it. I love that. I thought this was great. The only one I feel like who didn't gain too much from this is Yuya. Poor Yuya. Like, we need something for the young man.
Yuya looks like an idiot, and everyone here just looks like they're assholes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like this, oh god, this girl from Boston is like the worst.
I know, you know that girl. It's 3 a.m. You're trying to hail a cab, and she's on the phone. You said you were going to call me when you got home. You stupid. I can't stand you, and I can't find my shoe.
One day I'm going to be asked to interview Lish, and she's going to be like, I see what you said about me on the post show. And I'm going to be like, oh, shit.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think this is peak heel work. Don't be mad at me, because Kazarian called your husband Ed Edwards.
Hey, we call him Edwards, so I kind of get it.
Name. What is Eddie short for? Edward Edwards.
It's Edward Edwards. Anyway, let's move on. Decay takes on OVE. This is another quick match. Black Taurus and Crazy Steve are on their way out, as far as I can tell, because Black Taurus is a free agent now. And then OVE, you got Sami Callihan, Jake Crist. Jake Crist, of course, was here for the tapings. The opening bite from Crazy Steve made Cresta very happy. I know it did. And then just the double kick on Steve, who plays dead until being arisen by Black Taurus, and then gets Gorilla Press Slam to the outside. It's fun. They play chicken on each other's shoulders until Jake Crist hits a Chris Cutter on Crazy Steve, gets the win. That's not really what's important here, because again, the post match is where we set it all up. Khan from the design shows up, and he double choke slams Callihan and Jake Crist. Then Diener Angels and Khan beat down both men. Rich Swann arrives late with the chair. And this is actually where I like it. They go backstage, they're outside, and Callihan is upset that Rich Swann didn't show up quicker with the steel chair to even up the odds. And Swann's like, it's not my fault. I was in Santino's office. I was signing papers for the 841 match. And I love that they explained that. And then Callihan was like, okay, I got it. Okay. Doctor is going to call the monster. Who's the monster, Cresta?
I'm going to agree with numerous people in the chat. Madman Fulton. Now that I know exactly who's in OVE and not Reno Scum, so I will stop saying Reno Scum. The name is just great. I had to do some research, and Crest is a little dumb sometimes, so there you have it. I agree. I think it'll be Madman Fulton. I think the band is getting back together.
For 2 seconds, I was going to say it was PCO, then I realized he's in the 841. So
PCO is also dead.
PCO's not dead. PCO is very much still alive, regardless of what happened this past week. Can't be Abyss. He works for WWE. Madman Fulton is a good shout. I could see it being him. There are no other monsters that are attached to Sammy and Jake that would work. This is the time. That'd be good. This is a good time to bring him in, and pretty easy deal. But Design's got to win this match if they come in. It's just got to happen eventually, right?
The Design has to win something at some point, at some time. And I like Diener when he hit the antidote on oh my god,
Sammy.
Chris.
He hit it on
Chris.
You're right.
And it's like, it looks so clean. And every time I see Diener wrestle, I see a significant improvement. It's one of those things that makes me wonder, like, why won't you guys, I guess, give him the same treatment y'all gave Eric Young for the Design? Let them really be in their final form. I think even if Madman Fulton and with Jake Chris coming back, they could still take the loss, and you would do so much for both of them. But at some point, we have to do something with the Design for real. Like, you can't build them up like they're these monsters and you're getting, sorry, Sammy Callahan. You get outsmarted by Sammy Callahan by himself.
And you know where they're going to be for this Impact Against All Odds show, right?
I do not.
They are in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
OVE is Ohio versus everybody. So you do OVE with Chris and Callahan and Fulton. Hopefully the Design win in this case, because it would be nice to have them pick up a win and then do something on the fallout that leads to Slammiversary for the blow off between Diener and Callahan. It's got to happen. They got to get to the finish of this, right?
I mean, I thought it would be a nice welcome back for OVE as a faction if they won in Ohio. But can you imagine the heat? I mean, I saw some heat last night. But the heat, like Don Callis heat, Dominic heat, OVE losing in Ohio.
I mean, it works. And again, you got to get to Slammiversary, and you can't do it with a dead feud between Diener and Callahan. You got to finish it off.
That's fair. I'm always against your hometown hero losing, especially after you have them just form. But the heat on that would be disgusting. And then going into Slammiversary, people be like, yo, Diener, you got to go. But then at that point, you have to have the Design win every time up until then, in my opinion. They've been losing far too much for far too long. They got to win everything until then.
And if you want to win everything, always, forevermore, come and join us at FightfulSelect.com. The best $5 in the business. You have so much news. Even tonight, we had Lady Frost interview notes. We had information on a certain Impact talent who's about to become a free agent whose name is not Jordan Grace. We also dropped that news during Under Siege, but there's more. There are other Impact stars who are heading towards potential free agency. We have that news on FightfulSelect.com. We have news on a potential new Universal Championship belt. If y'all are belt people, you got to join us on FightfulSelect.com. $5. That's what you got. Weekender podcast with Steven Jensen, who joins us for the big pay-per-views. You got Ask Rhapsody. They dropped one today. Usually Sean Ross Sapp does a Q&A, but once in a while Jimmy Van does one too, and I get to host those with him. We're going to do one this month eventually. Don't know when. We'll figure it out. But either way, that's coming here on FightfulSelect.com, along with Sour Grabs if you want the sour side of WWE Raw and SmackDown with Alex Pulaski and our friend Kate from the ROH Post Show and Coexisting After Dark, etc., etc., etc. We drop podcasts so often on this channel that it's worth it. It's worth it for $5. Get all that exclusive content, not just the news, but also exclusive talkie talk. That's us over at FightfulSelect.com. Bing?
Ding!
Oh, okay, cool. Speaking of which, Trinity takes on Savannah Evans. It was a good match. I actually really liked it.
Yes. A very pretty match.
Yeah, very pretty match. No surprise, Trinity gets the win. I like that Starstruck is the move that Trinity is going to go with. And I especially like it because it's going to be Trinity versus Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Knockouts Championship at Slammiversary. We have to get there beforehand. We'll talk about the match. We'll talk about where we go. But I love that Starstruck is an arms-based submission, and Deonna's Venus de Milo is an arms-based submission. So those two are absolutely going to go ham on each other. There's a lot of storytelling available there in that submission match, because it's not a submission match, but I feel like it may as well be, because I feel like it's going to end in submission. How do you feel about Trinity and Deonna coming up? And then we'll talk about Trinity and Savannah Evans, because there's more to the story than just what happened in the match.
So to talk about Trinity and Deonna first, I do like that idea that you said about the both of them both having arm submissions. That's a good shot. I didn't think about that before you said it. I also noticed tonight that at the end, when Trinity tapped out Savannah Evans, when she did Starstruck, it was kind of a modified Starstruck this time. She had Savannah Evans' leg, her leg was higher. It looked like almost like an octopus stretch on the ground. And any other time I've seen her do it, it's more like I'm pushing you back and leaning you forward at the same time. I like that it can be modified, because when you go against someone like Deonna Purrazzo, you need to be on your absolute A game, because she's going to outpower you and she's going to outthink you. And I don't know how this is going to go. On the one hand, I could see them putting the title on Trinity. I think that's a great way to put buzz on the title and the division. But also, I can see them having Deonna maintain. I also see a screwy finish. I'm not going to hold you. Depending on how Giselle Shaw feels, this might be a screwy finish. There might be a screwy finish.
Well, let's talk about Trinity, easy for me to say. And Savannah Evans, I like early on, it's Trinity just trying to overpower Evans, but of course Savannah is the much bigger competitor, so she's going to take her down every time. There's good storytelling in this match. It's a simple, straight up, bigger person versus littler person match. Trinity is going and getting the speed up, getting the kicks, and then Evans just drops her with a big old power bomb for 2, and then gets that Trinity gets that glow kick, or the disaster kick as Cody Rhodes would call it. They do a top rope crossbody by Trinity on Giselle Shaw that looked a little awkward, but they ended up kind of picking up from there. It's okay. Then they do the sunset flip into the Starstruck. That's the submission victory for Trinity. And then Trinity calls out Deonna Purrazzo. Purrazzo comes out. The challenge is laid down by Trinity. Deonna says, "Let's dance." Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans go after Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo. Jay Vidal hits Deonna with a loaded purse and then gets dropped by Trinity, I think it was. And then Shaw picks up the purse and then takes out Trinity. And then out comes Jordynne Grace. And Jordynne Grace gets basically kneed to death by Giselle Shaw. And that seems to be the end of Jordynne Grace in Impact for now. Once again, one thing we reported that Jordynne Grace is a free agent as of now. She is wrapping up with Impact Wrestling. This was her last appearance. They didn't kill her, which is usually the sign that Impact is done with you forever and ever. Amen. No, instead they played it off as she was taken out so badly that they're hoping that maybe Jordynne comes back sooner than later. What do you think of this potential write-off for Jordynne Grace?
It was nice. I think that when you have a chance in Giselle Shaw's position, taking out Jordynne Grace, assisted or not, is still a good notch on your belt, on your bad guy belt. Jordynne Grace is a name, and that's a powerhouse name. So good for her. Good for her and the both of them. I hope Jordynne Grace comes back, but I can understand if you want to go to greener pastures. I'm looking at my notes, y'all. Give me a second. My brain is soft. A smooth brain. The one thing I will complain about in that post-match with Deonna and Trinity, I just kind of wish that Trinity's promo was a little bit more confident, instead of, "I'm not going to take too much of your time." No, you deserved it. You deserve it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I think she wrestled great. I think the post-match was great. I foresee a Deonna and Trinity versus Shaw and Evans match on the horizon. So I'm not upset.
Well, they've already announced it. It's happening against all odds.
Well, that's why I get for paying attention, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I write things down, because smooth brain.
So yeah, this is the match for Against All Odds to get us closer. It's a can they coexist type of tag match. That's fine. Again, Trinity and Deonna on the same team taking on Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans is a good deal. They're really going to spend a lot of time telling the story of Deonna and Trinity and who is the babyface, who is the heel, or at least who do you want to cheer? Because both women are very firmly baby faces in Impact Wrestling right now, and they want to have Deonna cheered, but they also know that Trinity is being cheered as well because she's very well liked. So there's going to be some back and forth. I think that both women are going to find their heat, but I also think that both women are going to, I think it's going to be a respect battle, but also one that gets a little dirty as well.
I think when that match does happen, the Impact fans, sometimes I know you can include yourself, Cresta. You've been watching Impact for a long time. You're a fan. You like the product. I think us Impact fans will cheer no matter what. And in a situation like this, it's literally may the best woman win. May the best storyline. I hope it makes the most sense because no matter who they put the belt on or if they keep it with Purrazzo, I don't think it does anything to diminish Trinity or the stock. If anything, I think it elevates everyone because you can't just walk in here and be like, I want a title shot. If they put it on Trinity, there's nothing wrong with that. It elevates. Trinity elevates the whole brand. She's one of the biggest names, one of the most talked about stories for the past 2 years. And now you have one of the people who was involved in that story in your locker room. So it would make sense. And plus, I don't want to say that she's the biggest star they have because I think a lot of these people are stars in their own right. But I think putting the belts on her from a business standpoint is an amazing decision. And I don't think, again, it doesn't diminish anybody because this is one of the toughest locker rooms. And if we want to say technically Jordynne Grace was number 2, Deonna Purrazzo is number 1 then. So what does that say about Trinity?
I'm interested in seeing what the reaction is if Trinity walks out Impact Knockouts champion after Slammiversary. I'm interested in seeing the reaction if she loses, but it feels like she should be winning this title at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know how long she wants to stay in Impact or what her plans are long term, but it feels to me like she has something to prove, and this is a great opportunity for her to prove it, whether or not she wins. But I want to see what the reaction is like from Impact fans once the match happens and everything does or doesn't in terms of her winning the title.
Yeah, no, that's fair because I feel like a lot of Impact fans are very protective of Impact in general, especially this iteration that from people's mouths, Impact wasn't always the greatest. And this iteration of it has been like, bro, please watch Impact. It's so good. So people are going to be very protective of it. And I think that if you watch it, and I've seen the improvement from all 3 times with Trinity, so if this is what she's doing just 3 times, bro, she'll be fine. I think what we may be looking for is more of a brutal killer, but she's not that. And maybe the time will come for that. And that'll probably be a Masha. I think having her go over on a Deonna is great because Deonna is a technical, proficient wrestler. And then you have a measuring stick like a Kelly or a Masha later. I think everyone involved here looks great, no matter what you do. I don't know how you book it, but I am going to be watching and I'm sports entertained already, just fantasy booking it in my mind.
My brain has Trinity winning at Slammiversary, especially because she has been on the show. She has been competing. She has been a presence. She's been promoting. She hasn't just shown up and just been there. She's been a part of it. She's integrated herself. She's spoken highly of her experience so far. She has waved the flag for Impact Wrestling, and I think a lot of fans do appreciate that. So with that in mind, there's a huge reach as well for Trinity winning that title. It does bring a lot of eyes to the product.
Agreed.
I understand. Like, Trinity brings in a demographic. She brings in a group of fans that some of them are going to come in and stay and watch her match and go home. And that's still okay because they're still watching Impact and there's still something else might get them invested if you want them to stick around and watch Impact. But they're still going to watch. They're still going to watch something. And I'm sure that the same thing happens with certain fans of other wrestlers in other companies. We see it again. Mercedes is another one. Mercedes Moné with New Japan Pro Wrestling brought in a lot of eyeballs to New Japan. Whether or not that's effective is another conversation. But it really does depend on the match. It depends on the experience. It depends on the plans for Trinity. They bring her in. She wins in July after appearing, a couple of months ago in Chicago. If this goes until October, all right, that's fine. Give her a few months with the title belt and then see what she wants to do, or see what the plan is, if she wants to be long-term or if she has other plans to move along.
Yeah, no, that is a safe thing to say and a good thing to say. I have to echo Frankie Kazarian here when he said, bet on yourself. Even Josh Alexander, he said, I chose option C. I think Impact Wrestling, especially if you are a woman or a female professional wrestler, that Impact Wrestling is a great place for you to bet on yourself, test your mettle, because I think you will find all types of wrestling there. All type, not just, I feel like, especially for women, there's sometimes such a limited scope of what people expect and want women to wrestle as. And I think Impact, you get every bit of it, every way to every flavor. So if you find what you want and you are a better technical wrestler than, I guess, a sports entertainer, you can find your way in Impact. So I'm so happy. No matter what, like I said, I feel like it gets elevated no matter what. But from a business standpoint, selfishly speaking, I want her to win it. So.
And again, that's not a bad thing. I see in the chat someone's talking about Kenny Omega, bringing them into Impact Wrestling. They were an AEW fan. Kenny won. They stuck around. They liked what they saw in Impact. That happens too.
Yeah.
And that's totally what we're talking about here with Trinity. There are fans who will come in. Some will be like, all right, I only want to watch what she's doing. Fine. But some might see someone like Jody Threat, or they might see someone like, I don't know, Steve Macklin. I don't know. Maybe they'll like a character and they'll come in and be like, oh, I like this. This is different. I want to see more of this. And that's a good thing. Everyone can find their way and get their shine. And again, to piggyback on the point that you and I make quite often, when you come to Impact, you're often there and kind of renewing your ability and you're renewing your value for other companies to pick you up down the line, WWE, AEW, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean it's the be all end all for everyone. Trinity might be like, I want to plant my flag here and stay here for the rest of my life. We don't know what her intentions or her plans are.
And that wouldn't be half bad. I feel like when you think about Impact, a lot of people have gotten starts, rejuvenated, and have found their way there and say, you know what, this place kind of rocks. I'm going to stay, like this place is the best. And I feel like Impact rewards you whether you want to stay or go, but especially if you want to stay. Say what you want about Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards is always wrestling on a pay-per-view, unless you want to take time off.
Yep.
Say what you want about PCO and Sami Callihan, but they always making sure they on that card. You know what I mean? So I respect it. So this is interesting. I really want more people. I cannot stop praising Impact enough, and I want more people to watch it. So if she brings more eyes to it, like you said, even if it's just, what the hell is this Moose guy doing afterwards? Gotcha, bitch.
True. Anyway, let's move on. Danny Luna versus Jody Threat. By the way, good conversation. That was that's good. It gets me more invested in Trinity's Impact run, because there are some days where I wonder to myself, like, what's she really doing here? But there's no wrong answer. Well, I mean, there is, but what she's doing has not proven to be a wrong answer.
I think that Impact is, again, one of these places where if you want to talk about it, I think it's easy just like, Impact sucks, bit, call it a day. But if you want to have a nuanced conversation about it, I'm always down for that, and no matter if it was Trinity or Mercedes or even Becky Lynch, I don't think it matters who it is. If you go to Impact Wrestling, you will change for the better, and everyone around you will be for the better. I took a wrestling class many moons ago, and one of the first things they taught us is that the first goal of professional wrestling is to make somebody else look better. And I think Impact does a good job of keeping true to that nature. So watch Impact. That's the moral. Watch Impact Wrestling.
It is. Yeah, that's right. Danny Luna and Jody Threat. I enjoyed this
match.
What
a good match.
It was so different from the other Jody Threat matches that we've talked about. I like that Danny Luna, who has been around for a little while, she did her homework. She evaded Jody Threat's German suplex after the middle rope dive that Threat usually does. Threat does this like Michinoku Grace driver hybrid that looks like it almost knocked out Danny Luna, but it was real good. Danny comes back, hits that big lariat and into a power bomb. Then another stiff lariat. 2.9 is good stuff. And then Threat debuts the F-bomb on Impact Wrestling. Matt Raywald had mentioned that he'd seen it on the Indies, and I've seen it too. It's like a rack power bomb. It looked a little rough. Honestly, I think it's just because people don't know how to take it yet. Danny Luna tried. She seems to have never taken it. The more people see it and the more people learn how to do it, the better it's going to look. We said the same thing about the F416 when she debuted the first time in Impact. So now Jody's trying a new thing, a new finish. I like that she's kind of expanded her arsenal. What did you think of Luna and Threat?
I said this on Twitter, and I'll say it again. Jody Threat is a little wrestling gremlin, and I love her theme song. I like how she's become more confident in the ring, especially in Impact. She's so good. I felt a little bit bad at first for Danny Luna, like, damn, Jody Threat is about to beat you up, and some coach about to lose twice tonight. But that is not what happened. Danny Luna by no means got beat up. They beat each other up. That was a fight. The girls were fighting tonight. At first, it felt like Jody Threat was in control of the beginning of the match, and even Ray Walt put over a commentary that Luna was or is a power lifter, and that if she could grab Threat, she could manhandle her. And that's what she did for a minute. Like you said, there was that weird Tiger Driver thing that Threat did to Danny, which was, and then she turned that into that other F-bomb. I was like, Jesus Christ. I can't wait for the three-way between her, Kinky Kelly, and Masha.
It's going to be real good.
Oh, listen, if it bleeds too much, this is going to be me watching it.
Is that the Slammiversary match in your head?
I don't see a reason for Jody to be involved in that yet. I don't see how she fits in that yet. And I think like with Killer Kelly, how we gave her so much time, we need to do the same with Jody Threat for just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. I think since the Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich feud just is really starting, that there's more fuel in that tank. You could eventually add Jody Threat, but Jody Threat seems to be doing the don't bully anyone, and these two are bullying each other.
You see, I see this as perfect because Kelly is dominating right now. Masha has always been dominant. Jody Threat is undefeated. So Kelly and Masha can start a whole like, one of us deserves to be the next in line for the Knockouts Championship. Kelly could be the one to be like, I deserve it. Masha, you suck. And then Jody could come out and just be like, I'm undefeated. I've beaten everybody here. Not yet, but let's say later on in a couple of weeks, I've beaten everyone that's been put in front of me. I deserve next. And then you do the three-way at Slammiversary. Winner becomes number one contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship.
I like it. And all I'm hearing in my mind is Jody Threat's music. I was raised in hell. I was raised in hell.
I don't know who did that theme music. It's different from her indie music, but it's pretty good.
It's so good. It's little gremlin music. I live. I'm a little gremlin too, so I live.
Speaking of gremlins, Santino is backstage with Joe Hendry. Hendry's like, you'll get your revenge. He'll get his revenge. But he says, Santino, you should get yours. Santino's like, oh, I'm not an active competitor. I can't do his thing. They end up sounding like Triumph, the insult comic dog.
I forgot. You unlocked the cursed memory. I forgot about Triumph, the insult dog.
I'm not an active competitor for me to poop on. Sorry.
Oh, man. Early 2000s.
I'm so old. Anyway, Kenny King and Sheldon Jean walk in, and they remind everyone that Jean broke Hendry's nose in Toronto after Rebellion. And then Santino is like, fine, okay, I'll make Sheldon Jean versus Joe Hendry for next week. They walk out, and then he says that against all odds, it's going to be Hendry versus Dango for the Digital Media Championship. Once again, we don't want to see another disqualification. So is it going to be a combat match? What are we going to do? How are we going to get through this match, Cresta Star?
Joel, I have a confession. I don't want to see this match because I think Dango takes it off of Hendry.
It's entirely possible.
I think at this point that Dango would take it off of Hendry. It would solidify this new character. And no shade. I think Hendry's done what he needs to have done with that Digital Media Championship. I don't like it, but I think that if he wrestles him again, and it's going to be even worse if it's a .com match, because that means no disqualifications, and no disqualifications means Yam Bag Yahtzee.
Yeah, but it also means that the Sony Dreamcast makes another appearance.
At the expense of Joe Hendry dropping the title, I believe.
If they do a Triumph the Comic Insult Dog spot, I know they're watching.
It's going to be you on the other side of the ring like, Joel.
That's a PS2, and it has a Triumph the Insult Comic Top DVD inside.
With a cigar in your mouth.
Come over here. I want to talk to you.
And Santino can hit him with the serpent. He can hit him with the cobra. It'll be a hardcore match and a hardcore match. Oh my god! And then he can fight on Johnny Swinger's pushy. It's like arm wrestling.
What are we doing here?
No, I don't belong here. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
Super serious wrestler Dango getting interviewed by Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. Dango, you were a dancer. Tell me about when you ballroom danced.
This is the best darn interview show you're ever going to see on over here on Fightful, okay?
This is a post show.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what show this is. It's the best one, okay?
Anyway.
Shawn Ross that pays us the big bucks.
Kinky Kelly's back in all draped in red. And she says, when two humans are locked in a cage, their instincts take over and they fight like animals. But when you chain two humans together, they fight like dogs. Let's allow our instincts to take over and our primal nature too. And then says, make yourself useful, Masha. Let me wrap this chain around your neck while I gaze into your eyes, while I watch the most basic instincts kick in, the sweet instinct to survive.
This is a children's program. This is a children. You know, children watch this program, ma'am. This is a children's program.
I don't know what happened to Killer Kelly. She's always been kinky, but man, we're leaning into it.
She had the red light on and everything, girl. She said, "Happy Pride. Come here, girl." I mean, I ain't mad at it. I want to watch, but like this is. I don't know what we were promoting here. A dog collar match, or I mean, I'm a watch, but I don't know what was being promoted.
Honestly, if I don't see Johnny Swinger get involved in this, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Zicky Dice is gonna make it win.
I trained her in the dungeon, Daddy. She's got all the moves now. That's all it needs to be.
Book it, you cowards. Have them do a Monsters Ball match in the Swinger Dungeon. Do it, you cowards.
Like, I don't even know what I love it, but also I'm like, why? What's going on with this woman? Like, does someone need to step in and just be like, you okay? You go? We need to talk about it?
Nah, man. You know, sometimes when two adults love each other, they don't know how to express it.
Killer Kelly, I am a dog. Put the chain on me. Sorry, let's call back.
That's exactly how that would have went too.
Yes.
I am a dog. You can put the collar on me.
There's a segment of our audience right now who's very confused. Rightfully.
If you were born in 2003, I'm sorry.
Anyway, they're going to do that Knockouts dog collar match at Against All Odds, and they're going to do Henry and Dango at Against All Odds. The X Division Championship, they're going to do a rematch. Sabian and Trey Miguel. I'm looking forward to that one. Sabian could do it. This could be 9-time Sabian.
9-time. If they don't do a video package with him saying 9 times and showing him every time he won the title, it's a missed opportunity. He said it 9 times on TV. Just do it. Just comedy comes in 3s. This could be the 2nd time. And when he wins, you could do it the 3rd time. Just do it.
Hey, Impact Post-Production. I know some of y'all watch this. Let's get on it. Come on. Kazarian takes on Edward Edwards because, of course, he does in a battle for who is the worst. Shawn Evans take on Perazo and Trinity. We talked about that. It's going to be a good match. For the Impact Tag titles, the Good Hands are finally getting their match against Ace of Base. I don't expect that to be a long match, but I would be surprised if they do a screw job finish and Good Hands win. Oh, I would hate that, but I'd also secretly love it. The Impact World title is on the line. Macklin and Alex Shelley, and the aforementioned 8-4-1 match. It's going to be Bully Ray, Jonathan Gresham, Heath, Nick Aldis, Moose, Speedball, Mike Bailey, Rich Swann, and PCO. So everyone in this match has been a world champion except for Speedball and Heath.
PCO was world champion?
PCO was a world champion. Swann was a world champion. Moose was a world champion. Aldis was a world champion. Jonathan Gresham was ROH champion, and he brought that title to Impact, so I'm going to count it.
Okay.
Bully was a world champion. So everyone here except for Heath.
I did not know PCO was a world champion.
Yes, he was. He was a Ring of Honor world champion, too.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's when Ring of Honor was really on all cylinders, let me tell you. Pandemic ROH, baby.
You know what? Stranger things have been known to happen.
I think Roosh... Okay, I can't remember because the lineage is messed up in my head. Roosh and PCO had a match for the title. I don't know who was champion and who beat who, but I'm pretty sure the PCO beat Roosh for the ROH World Championship.
Roosh lost?
Right, that was scary enough. Anyway, 841 starts. It's 8 men in the ring. They do a 4-on-4 match. So Bully, Gresham, Heath, and Aldis are on one side. Moose, Speedball, Swann, and PCO are on the other. Feels like the 4 who win this is going to be Bully, Gresham, Heath, and Aldis. Those 4 are going to compete in a fatal 4-way for the Impact #1 contendership of the World Championship. So Bully, Gresham, Heath, and Aldis. Does Aldis pin Bully or Heath?
You know Jonathan Gresham is taking that pin. That's why I had to think about it, and I'm so upset.
Gresham losing makes sense.
You know Gresham is taking that pin. Heath also kind of makes sense, but I know Gresham is taking that pin, and I'm upset. It's either Aldis or Bully, and one of them is gonna have to be neutralized by somebody else. Oh Lord, have mercy. I just thought the more I'm thinking about Bully Ray pinning Jonathan Gresham is sending me into orbit, and I don't want that.
Why does Gresham have to eat the pin? Why can't Heath eat the pin?
Because I know how Impact give it up.
Valid point.
I think last time Gresham didn't eat the pin because I ate the pin.
I would not be surprised if Gresham eats the pin and then we find out, and this is not me reporting, this is pure speculation, totally out of my brain.
Your speculation. I didn't say anything.
Do not think that I'm reporting anything. If Gresham eats the pin at Against All Odds, I would not be surprised if we find out that Gresham is also on the verge of free agency in Impact Wrestling.
That would make sense.
It would be 6 months after he signed. It might be it, but we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. I think it is between Heath and Gresham eating the pin, but I feel like Heath has been through a lot right now. Isn't Rhino? Didn't Rhino get his knee shredded again this time by Macklin, Steve Macklin?
Yes. So Heath has reason to want to win this match, and maybe they'll tell us why next week. I don't think they will, but we'll see.
Place your bets. Who's eating the pin?
We'll find out. Next week is Against All Odds. We will be here Friday. What is it? June the 8th? June the 9th. We will be here live talking about that show, breaking it down here on Fightful.com. Next week on the show, the Knockouts tag titles are on the line. The Coven takes on the Death Dolls. And then in a preview of the 841, Moose and Gresham tag against Nick Aldis and Rich Swann.
One of these things is not like the others.
Who did Gresham piss off in Impact? That's my one question now. It's getting weird.
I mean, but to me, Moose and Swann, Moose and Gresham as a team make more sense than Swann and Edwards.
I mean, I'm thinking of who's in this match. Moose and you could on Gresham and Speedball versus Aldis and Swann. Good on PCO and Moose. Even that's weird.
I'm not gonna hold you, Chief. This 841 match is kind of weird because almost all of these people Steve Macklin has already beat up. I'm just saying.
No, he has. Okay, Macklin has not beaten Bully.
Speedball.
Okay, hold on. Bully, Gresham, Heath, and Aldis. He hasn't beaten Gresham. At least not in the Impact World title thing. In fact, Gresham has beaten Steve Macklin. When Gresham came in as the Impact or as the ROH champion, they had a match and Gresham won. Aldis hasn't beaten Macklin. Macklin hasn't beaten Aldis.
Aldis just got here.
I'm just saying, your point is a little moot here. Moose has not beaten Macklin in this case. Speedball and Macklin haven't done anything either since X Division title.
I'm trying to think. Did Macklin beat up Moose? I thought I could have swore for sure because Macklin was just beating up everybody, or was he beating up the same 8 people every week?
Anyway, Moose and Gresham versus Aldis and Swan. That's a tag team.
Moose and Gresham versus wrestling.
Very strange. Main event time: Subculture versus Motor City Machine Guns. This is a great match. It was all Motor City Machine Guns early. Eventually, Subculture takes over. They get some good double teaming on Shelly, and then a double mid rope dive on Shelly and Shaven. Shelly and Sabian, not Shelly and anyway. Later in the match, Webster goes around the post, hits a Hurricane Rana on Chris Sabin. The Magic Killer from Motor City Machine Guns is great, hits 2.9. There's a lot of attempted like double team stuff, really good, fun, fluid wrestling. Sabin hits Mandrews with a Doomsday dropkick, but Mandrews no-sells it. That was weird. And then Subculture tries to do double team stuff to Sabin. They break it up. And then they're making Motor City Machine Guns like incredibly strong as Sabin hits a Cradle Shock, turned into a Stun Dog Millionaire by Mandrews. He's going for the Cradle Shock. And Mandrews hits a Stun Dog Millionaire out of that. And then Motor City Machine Guns hit Mandrew with the facial, and then Webster gets a Dirt Bomb. That is the finish. Great match. I just completely bungled my way through it. Talk to me, Cresta Star.
Flash Morgan Webster literally is blinking, you miss him. He is phenomenal, to say the least. That man was zip-zopping, zawoo-wopping all over that match. There's no other way to describe it. The arm drag where I don't know who did this, if it was Mandrews or no, it was Flash Morgan Webster. There was an arm drag where he caught Shelly midair, and it felt like visually he reversed the motion. Maybe my brain lagged out, but it looked so cool because like literally he caught it midair and just turned it around. It was, whoa, dude, that was so cool. Like I can see why Subculture said this is a dream match for us. And if I was I hate using the term flip-de-doo, but it's just so catchy and funny to me. But if I was a high flyer tag team wrestler, I would want to wrestle the Motor City Machine Guns. Like that is a bucket list. And you absolutely got that. I like that how both, like you said, both teams tried to double team each other in the ring. But the experienced Motor City Machine Guns, and even though Subculture's experienced as a team, but Motor City Machine Guns have been teams since the dawn of time. So they were able to reverse the double team reverse, and that was really cool as well. And like you said, that Dark Bomb was, yikes, I'd be mad. I don't know. I kind of put marbles down on Grandpa when they walk up the ramp.
It's a good move, the Dirt Bomb. I like it.
It's a good name too.
Yeah. I like that Motor City Machine Guns took over the Magic Killer from Gallows and Anderson. I like that they took the Good Brothers finish. They started using it because they were the last match that Good Brothers had in Impact. And that was a fun final match for them. Subculture comes in. They didn't win at all during the weekend, but they won a lot of minds over in Impact because that was a good weekend for them, a busy weekend for them. They worked a lot of matches, had really strong appearances, and overall, just they didn't win, but they definitely won, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. I could see them. Sorry. I could see them
sneezing
sticking
time
around. Yo, I'm dying tonight. I don't know what is happening, bro. See, you're dying too.
I keep thinking I'm going to sneeze, and then it doesn't happen, and it's so frustrating. It's allergy season. It sucks.
That's what, every time I go to talk, my voice is like, hey, I'm Barbara. Like, no, Barbara, not now. But it's like, I would want Subculture to stay around, and even if it's not Aces of Bays, maybe have a tag team title run or a tag team kerfuffle. Let's say the Good Hands cheat Ace of Bays out they boots. I wouldn't be mad if the Subculture would fight them, or even if you have now, if OVE gets back together for real, I think there's a lot of things here for them. Sheldon Jean and Kenny King versus Subculture. There's a lot of people for them to wrestle, and Danny Luna is no slouch herself. I think that any woman, in addition to the Knockouts division, is an asset, and she's a really good wrestler. My only complaint, now that I'm really thinking about it, is that the Knockouts division just needs a little bit more high-flying women. In my opinion, there's a lot of women who are like, break yourself.
They need like a luchadora, someone who's going to come in.
Yeah.
With I wouldn't hate that. But also, I don't think the Subculture's signed. There are a few things that stop that. One being that they're still based in the UK. The other thing being the Impact does this every time, right? Well, they'll bring in a special guest for the tapings. They were the special guest for the set of tapings. I think Jake Cresta is more likely to stick around, having been the special guest, just to play out maybe the next couple of months. But also, he's more local than Subculture, right? You're not buying plane tickets to go across the pond. So
yeah, you did make the joke that they thought it was London, England, and not London, Canada.
But they made the most of their appearance. They had a great time. They had great showings. I don't see a world in which they are not brought back for special events. There's always an opportunity. And also, Impact's going halfway across the world at the end of June. So who knows? Maybe Subculture makes their way over to Wagga Wagga, Australia.
Ollie. Oi. Or is it Aussie? Sorry, I'm a dumb American.
It is Aussie. Yes, it is.
Dumb American. I'm sorry, y'all. Please don't kill me.
Our Aussie fans are very upset. Anyway, that's Impact Wrestling for June the 1st, 2023. Cresta Star, get us out of here. Plug your stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure seeing you here Fridays for the Post-Impact Show with Joel Pearl. Did you know that I'm going to be on the Post-Impact Show? No, that's not it. That's not what I meant to say. Take two. Thank you guys so much for being here every Thursday with myself and Joel Pearl for the Post-Impact Show. Did you know I'm going to be hosting or part of a 3-man booth for the AEW Collision Show starting June 17th? Myself, Rick Ucchino. I hope I say your name right. I haven't. How do you say his name, Joel?
Rick Ucchino.
Ucchino or Ucchino?
Ucchino, actually.
Rick Ucchino. And your wrestle friend, Iridian. We are going to be covering all things that happen on AEW Collision. I almost said AEW CM Punk because that's what it is. I'm so excited. I get to cover CM Punk show. Anyways, on Fridays, for the most part, and Wednesdays, you can find me on twitch.tv or tiktok.com at CrestaStar playing video games or watching wrestling with you. If that was a lot because I'm crazy, right below me, you have Cresta the Star on Twitter. Linktree is in my bio. Follow me everywhere there. Joe Pearl, my brain is like, I don't want to talk anymore. Please take it away, please.
Late shows are the best shows. I'm at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. You'll find me here and you'll find me in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. Eastern till noon over on Fightful Overbooked. Myself and Jeremy Lambert. We're joined by people from all over the wrestling world talking about the stories, the shows, the matches, everything. Go follow us over at Fightful Overbooked. That is our sister channel where we are trending upwards. There's a lot of really great content there, not just myself and Jeremy, but there's so many other creators, so many other people. Rob and Maggie do their show over there. You've got Tag Talk with Haley and Kylie. Myself and Kate do a show there every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We call it Joel and Kate at 8. So, that's really original, isn't it? And a ton of other content. Just go check it out. Fightful Overbooked. On top of that, you'll find me and Cresta here every Thursday. And of course, next Friday, against all odds, we will be doing a post show here on youtube.com/Fightful. Until then, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.